Part 140. The Pentium Era, South to North. Author, Mei Shi Niang. Chapter 1392. Zhang Chen and Su Qiaxin got out of the car and walked towards the office building. Su Qiaxin asked excitedly as they walked, "Boss, does this mean I know how to reverse the car into the warehouse?" Zhang Chen said it should be forgotten. What does should mean? Does it count or not? Su Qiaxin was anxious. Zhang Chen smiled and said, "Forget it, it's just that you spent 13 minutes today. I hope it can be solved within 10 minutes next time." "Boss, how many minutes will it take for you to reverse the car into the warehouse?" Su Qiaxin asked. 4 or 5 seconds, Zhang Chen said. "I'll go." "Is it true?" Su Qiaxin shouted. Zhang Chen stopped and asked, "Do you want me to pour it out to you now?" "Okay, I believe it." "Boss, I believe everything you say," Su Qiaxin said. "How did you do it?" "It's nothing. Practice makes perfect, and you can do it too in the future." "Really?" Su Qiaxin giggled. "Boss, when you say this, it makes people feel that the future is bright." Zhang Chen smiled and said, "Do you think your future is bleak?" "One thing, when the car hit me in front, I almost cried," Su Qiaxin said. Zhang Chen and Su Qiaxin walked into the office building. Zhang Chen chose the stairs to go upstairs. Su Qiaxin was lazy and wanted to take the elevator. Zhang Chen cursed that if he was so lazy, he would one day become a fat woman. Su Qiaxin laughed and said, "I am exhausted after driving such a long way." Zhang Chen walked up the stairs. Before he reached the top of the stairs, he saw the door of Zhao Zhigang's office open. Zhang Chen called Zhao Zhigang, but was stunned for a moment. He saw not only Zhao Zhigang walking out, but also someone following behind him, but it was Hui Huan's mother, who had never appeared in this office building before. Zhao Zhigang said to Zhang Chen, "Auntie is waiting for you." Zhang Chen was even more surprised. Normally, only Hui Huan would often appear in this building. Her father had also come to his office once or twice. Although Hui Huan's mother lived in the dormitory building behind, they won't even enter the factory, let alone this office building. Hui Huan's mother works as a handyman in the kitchen of Tuxianjiayuan. She is usually a taciturn person. Even when she saw Zhang Chen in the kitchen of Tuxianjiayuan, the man shrank back, smiled at Zhang Chen, and then avoided it. They had basically no communication, and she actually had something to ask her about today. Zhang Chen said, "Okay, Auntie, please come sit here with me." Su Qiaxin also arrived, shouting as he walked, "What a broken elevator, I'm not as fast as you." Zhang Chen and Su Qiaxin said, "You first talk to Zhao Zhigang about the order, I have something to do here." Su Qiaxin said yes. Zhang Chen led Hui Huan's mother into his office and asked her to sit on the sofa. Hui Huan's mother sat half-assed on the sofa, a little embarrassed, with nowhere to focus her eyes, and finally stared at the ashtray on the coffee table. Zhang Chen poured a glass of water, placed it in front of Hui Huan's mother, and told her, "Auntie, drink water." Hui Huan's mother quickly leaned over and said thank you. After sitting down, her butt was still half on the sofa. Zhang Chen sat down on the sofa next to him and asked, "Auntie, what do you want from me?" Hui Huan's mother's face was already turning red before she spoke. Zhang Chen continued, "Auntie, if you have anything to say, just say it." I just want you to tell me about Hui Huan." Hui Huan's mother said that this sentence must have been held in her heart for a long time, and she had been brewing for a long time. When she said it, she seemed to be relieved and her whole body became more natural. "Oh, what's wrong with Hui Huan?" Zhang Chen asked. Ugh. Hui Huan's mother patted her thigh anxiously, and then said, "Boss Zhang, you also know that Hui Huan is not young anymore. She is already 24 this year. In the countryside, anyone as old as her would have been a mother long ago. Zhang Chen nodded. Although we are in the city and we are very busy at work every day, no matter how busy we are at work, this woman is still a woman and she still wants to get married and have children. Boss Zhang, are you right? Zhang Chen is right. Her father and I are all counting on her. Her sister is not afraid of your jokes, Boss Zhang, and can eat people when she talks. We never dare to count on her. We don't want anything else. We just want Hui Huan to get married and have children as soon as possible. Then I can take care of the child, and it won't affect her work. Don't you think that's right, Boss Zhang? Zhang Chen is right, Auntie, you are right. But this Hui Huan has been stubborn since she was a child, and she is even more stubborn now. We have offered her several marriages in our hometown and asked her to go back to meet her sometime, but she just refuses to go back. Zhang Chen understood. Isn't this a bit of a mess? How could it be possible for Hui Huan to go back to the village for a blind date? Zhang Chen looked at Hui Huan's mother and said with a smile, Auntie, can I tell the truth? Hui Huan's mother nodded quickly and said yes, Boss Zhang, please tell me. Auntie, it's like this. Once this young man leaves his hometown and leaves the countryside, few people are willing to go back. Look, including factory director Zhao you saw earlier, he also came from the countryside. Now if he were asked to go back to his hometown, he would definitely not want to go back. He is still a man, let alone Hui Huan, a woman. Moreover, she has her own career here and can make money. She can earn more than many men. How is that possible if you ask her to go back to her hometown? What can she do when she goes back? Raise chickens, ducks, and pigs. It's really not very realistic. Besides, you two elders, when you loaned her money to open a shop in Hangzhou, didn't you also hope that she could stay in Hangzhou, right? Now let her marry back to the village. Auntie, let me tell the truth. It's not just her. I don't want to, and the people around us look at it and think it's inappropriate. Boss Zhang, you are right, Hui Huan's mother said. Her father also said the same, and I agree with it. If you don't want to go back to the countryside, then you won't go back. The countryside is not that good, and we can't get used to it even if we don't go back to the countryside, so we'll look for her in the city. We have many relatives and friends in the village and in Hangzhou, but Hui Huan doesn't want to go to Hangzhou. Just last time, there was a teacher from the university here in Xiaosha. As soon as he was introduced, the man ran to the hotel and secretly took a look at Hui Huan. He fell in love with her. As a result, Hui Huan got to know him. This Hui Huan refused to say anything, saying she was busy with work and had no time. Well, you don't have time. Is it okay if a relative comes to see you? She turned away at that time and ignored her. She also told her not to come again next time because she thought they were hindering her work. No one can stand down. Auntie, why are you here to see me? Zhang Chen asked. I just want Boss Zhang to help me talk about Hui Huan. Her father and I both know that Hui Huan listens to you the most. Please help me talk about her, Hui Huan's mother said. Persuade her to go on a blind date. Yep. Okay, Auntie, let me see when. I'll go talk to Hui Huan, Zhang Chen said. However, you also know that Hui Huan has a stubborn temper. I'm not sure whether it will work. It's useful. Boss Zhang, you said it must be useful, Hui Huan's mother said. Zhang Chen couldn't laugh or cry in his heart. He knew that it would be the most useless to talk to him, but since Hui Huan's mother came to the door, he also decided to talk to Hui Huan. Okay, I'll go talk to her, Zhang Chen and Hui Huan's mother said. Okay, thank you, Boss Zhang. Hui Huan's mother stood up. Zhang Chen sent Hui Huan's mother to the elevator, walked back, and walked to Zhao Zhigang's office. Zhao Zhigang and Su Qiaxin were holding thread scissors in their hands, and they were taking apart the sample clothes. One sample was cut into two. The half-complete ones should be left to the sample workers for reference. The other half will be decomposed in this way. The removed accessories must be sent to the accessory factory for proofing. The removed garment parts must be cut into a large piece and sent to the factory to ask them to provide the same sample fabric. To cover the garment pieces, calculate the shrinkage of the garment. Seeing Zhang Chen come in, Zhao Zhigang asked, "Boss, why is Hui Huan's mother looking for you?" Zhang Chen scolded, "You care so much. Is she attracted to you?" "You are very popular now," Zhao Zhigang said, and Su Qiaxin laughed wildly. "I'm attracted to you, so I came to your place as soon as I came," Zhang Chen said angrily. "It's good if you like me," Zhao Zhigang said. "What, you want to rebel?" Zhang Chen asked. "Aren't you afraid that Kaidi will ask you to kneel on the washboard when you go back?" "He is not afraid, he just wants to be a landlord with a group of wives and concubines," Su Qiaxin said. I'll bring you in too," Zhao Zhigang said with a smile. "I'll go." "You damn Zhao Zhigang, you dare to eat my tofu, grandmas," Su Qiaxin said, and poked Zhao Zhigang with the thread scissors in his hand, and Zhao Zhigang dodged. After joking, Zhang Chen asked Zhao Zhigang, "Are there any problems with these fabrics?" Zhao Zhigang shook his head and said, "No problem, I've seen it before." As he said this, he went to the cabinet and took out a bunch of fabric swatches, which were sent by different fabric factories. Zhao Zhigang picked two out of the middle and took out the fabrics inside to show to Zhang Chen and the others. Zhang Chen looked at them. "Look, the materials are indeed the same as the sample clothes sent by Target." Zhang Chen said, "Let them send out the sample fabric today, and also determine how long it will take for mass production." Zhao Zhigang said, "Yes, I will calculate all the fabrics later, and then let them quote the price and production period." Zhang Chen said yes. He looked at the time and saw that it was already past 2 o'clock in the afternoon. He understood in his heart that Hui Huan's mother should have come to see him after getting off work from the hotel. At this time, there were no guests in the hotel, and Hui Huan didn't know. Juan was not in the hotel, but Zhang Chen decided to go and have a look. Zhang Chen and Su Qiaxin said, "Help Zhao Zhigang make the craft sheet." "Of course, this idiot can still stay away from me," Su Qiaxin said. "I'll go out for a while. When I'm done, you can wait for me here," Zhang Chen said. Su Qiaxin smiled at Zhang Chen, "Boss, why don't I drive when we go back?" "Hey, are you getting braver?" Zhang Chen asked. No, if the boss is here, even if the car crashes, the boss will pay for it." Su Qiaxin actually felt itchy, but she still said so. "Roll." Zhang Chen cursed and walked out. Su Qiaxin chased after him, "Boss, I'll wait for you here." Zhao Zhigang immediately answered, "See you or see you." "I'll go, you damn Zhao Zhigang, you're looking for death." Su Qiaxin cursed, and Zhang Chen knew that she must have used the thread scissors to poke Zhao Zhigang again. Zhang Chen shook his head and couldn't help but laugh. "Thank you for the reward of 2 fishes at around 3 o'clock in the middle of the night." "Thank you Daqiang 666, Xiaohu Suanza, Mi 197900607, Feng Zhongli. Zongkai 727, Book Friends 201907110845531007 Monthly Pass. Thanks for all the votes and reading. I wish you all good health. The Pentium Era, South to North. Author, Mei Shi Niang. Chapter 1393. Zhang Chen drove to the Tuxianjiayuan Hotel. He parked the car at the gate and walked into the hotel lobby. The lobby was empty. There was only one security guard sitting on the sofa and taking a nap. There was also a supervisor on duty with a hand in his hand. Holding a feather duster, he stood beside the sofa while dusting a colorful porcelain vase as tall as one person that the client had given to them in the hotel. Seeing Zhang Chen come in, the supervisor on duty quickly called Mr. Zhang and walked over. When passing by the security guard, he kicked him. The security guard opened his eyes and stood up quickly when he saw Zhang Chen. Zhang Chen asked the supervisor on duty, "Was Hui Huan there?" The supervisor on duty said that she should be there. She usually did not go back to the dormitory in the afternoon and stayed in the office. After saying that, she turned to look at the security guard, who said, "I didn't see her go out either." Zhang Chen originally wanted to say, "You are already asleep, how can you see her even if she goes out?" After thinking about it, he didn't say it. To him, such words were a joke, but to the security guard, they might sound like a reproach, which would make him uneasy all afternoon. Zhang Chen said thank you and walked in. Zhang Chen walked to the door of Hui Huan's office. The door was closed. Zhang Chen knocked on the door. Hui Huan's lazy voice came from the door, "Coming in." Zhang Chen pushed the door open and went in, and saw Hui Huan sitting at the desk, looking at the door sleepily. Just now, she must have been lying on the desk and taking a nap. Seeing that it was Zhang Chen, Hui Huan stood up, smoothed her hair with her hands, and smoothed her clothes. "Brother Zhang, why are you here?" Hui Huan asked. Zhang Chen walked in, closed the door, and asked, "Why don't you go back to your room to rest? If you're too lazy to run, just squint here." Hui Huan said, "If they have something to do, they can find me." Zhang Chen nodded and sat down on the sofa in the office. Hui Huan asked him if he wanted tea or boiled water. Zhang Chen said, "Just cold water." Hui Huan poured a glass of cold water from the water dispenser, walked over and placed it on the coffee table in front of Zhang Chen. She turned sideways, rubbed her face with her hands, and then sat down. Zhang Chen looked at Hui Huan and said, "We haven't seen each other for half a month. How are you now?" "That's it," Hui Huan said, "I go to and from get off work every day." The two of them fell silent. After a while, Zhang Chen said, "Your mother went to see me earlier." "Why is she looking for you?" Hui Huan asked strangely. "She said you were disobedient and asked me to persuade you." Zhang Chen said that Hui Huan understood. She smiled and said, "Are you here just to persuade me?" Zhang Chen didn't say yes or no. He said, "The old man came to see me. I can't refuse. If I agree, I'll come." "I understand." Hui Huan raised her head, looked at Zhang Chen, and smiled again. "Okay, your mission is completed now." The two of them were silent again. Hui Huan was resting just now. The lights were not turned on in the office and the curtains were closed. However, the afternoon light was too strong and still penetrated through the curtains, leaving the entire office half dark and half dark. In an ambiguous atmosphere, Hui Huan sat there, half of her face was bright, and the other half was hidden in her own shadow. Such light and shape are very suitable for sketching. If there is paper and pen, Zhang Chen can draw. If there is no paper and pen, Zhang Chen can draw from memory. "Actually, I also hope you can be happy," Zhang Chen said. "I know, brother Zhang." Hui Huan nodded. Zhang Chen sighed, and almost at the same time, Hui Huan also sighed. The timing was so coincidental that the two couldn't help but look up at each other and both laughed. Then the two people were silent again. "I'm so stupid," Hui Huan whispered. "What did you say?" Zhang Chen asked. "I said I'm so stupid." Hui Huan raised her head, looked at Zhang Chen, and smiled sadly. Hui Huan said, "I thought that if we were like that, I could accept others, but..." Hui Huan did not continue speaking, and Zhang Chen did not ask. He had no way of asking. After a while, Hui Huan asked Zhang Chen, "Do you know what the outcome will be?" Zhang Chen shook his head. "As a result, I can no longer accept other people. If other people touch me, I will feel disgusted." Hui Huan said, her eyes were red, and she quickly turned her head away. When Zhang Chen walked out of the hotel lobby, he felt the dazzling sunshine outside. He took out his sunglasses from his jacket pocket and put them on. He felt that the light was still burning his eyes. Maybe it was because of the time he spent in the half-dark room. The reason it took too long may really be because the sunlight was too strong. More and more people started to come in and out of the hotel lobby. They all nodded to Zhang Chen and called Mr. Zhang, and Zhang Chen kept saying hello and hello. From the two bridges on number 1 Road and Yingbin Avenue, more and more people came to work on bicycles. Zhang Chen saw Hui Huan's mother from a distance, turning from the bridge on number 1 Road. Zhang Chen hurriedly took 2 steps, walked to the car parked at the gate, opened the door and got in the car, then picked up the phone and pretended to be talking on the phone. He didn't know what he could say to Hui Huan's mother if he met her. He told her that he had come to see Hui Huan, but it was useless. Tell her that the reason why Hui Huan is like this is entirely because of herself? Zhang Chen saw Hui Huan's mother approaching. He turned his head and did not look over there. Fortunately, Hui Huan's mother seemed to be in a hurry. She didn't care whose car was parked here at all. Whoever was sitting passed the car and hurriedly turned into the door. What she was thinking about was that there was a basket of vegetables that had to be washed before getting off work at noon, but she didn't wash it because she had to wait for Zhang Chen. Now, she has to wash it out quickly before the chefs come to work, otherwise there will be no green vegetables available when the chef arrives. Zhang Chen drove forward along road number 1. When he passed by the original Hui Huan local restaurant, he looked over there and saw that it had long been divided into 2. One was a noodle shop, and the other was originally called Jianpu Village. The restaurant was changed to Kuzhu Restaurant this year, selling kuzhus 3 heads and 1 palm. On the light box of the store, there is a photo of 3 heads and 1 palm printed on it. The so-called 3 heads refer to rabbit heads, duck heads, and fish heads, and 1 palm is duck paw. The soup looks red and spicy, but Zhang Chen had never eaten there before. After moving away from Hui Huan local food restaurant, he never even visited this place again. Zhang Chen was thinking wildly, filling his mind with all kinds of thoughts. It seemed that only in this way could he stop thinking about Hui Huan, her red eyes, and her face turned away, half of which was brightly lit. Half in the shadows, not thinking about what she said. Zhang Chen parked his car and went upstairs and walked to the door of his office. When Su Qiaxin saw him coming back, he ran over and cried out that he was dying of thirst as soon as he entered the door. She ran to the water dispenser to get a glass of water, drank it down, and after finishing it, she let out a long breath. Her expression made Zhang Chen laugh. Zhang Chen said, "Are you so popular? At Zhao Zhigang's place, you don't even get enough water to drink." "No, I don't want to drink his water. The water here is delicious," Boss Su Qiaxin said. Zhang Chen couldn't laugh or cry. "Aren't we the same bottled water? My place is wahaha, and his place is ha ha ha. He's wow, ha ha." After Su Qiaxin finished speaking, he burst out laughing. "Su Qiaxin, how old are you this year?" Zhang Chen asked. 24, what's wrong, boss? It's nothing, I just think you haven't grown up yet, Zhang Chen said. What he was thinking about was that it was such a coincidence that you were still 24 years old. Su Qiaxin nodded repeatedly. No, it's still early for me to grow up. I don't want to grow up. Why? Zhang Chen asked. I haven't grown up. When I go home during the Chinese New Year, I can stay in bed every day. My mother brings all the food to the bed for me to eat. If I grow up and lose money, I have to help them work. Just for this. Yes, otherwise, my mother is the only one who is easy to deceive. If you are outside, no one cares whether you grow up or not. You are just a baby and no one cares about you, Su Qiaxin said. Zhao Zhigang walked in, and Zhang Chen asked him, had the fabrics been arranged? Okay, they will send out the sample fabric today. If the quantity is large, it can be delivered within a week, Zhao Zhigang said. 4 kinds of fabrics together, Zhang Chen asked. Yes, their factory is very large, and he said he can place orders for production at the same time for us. Zhang Chen nodded and asked Su Qiaxin, do you have anything else? Su Qiaxin said no more. Okay, let's go back to the company. Zhang Chen said that. Su Qiaxin jumped up immediately, stretched out his hand and shouted, bring it, bring it. Zhang Chen gave her the car keys. Zhao Zhigang shook his head and said, only a boss like you would trust her to drive the car. Lulu, Su Qiaxin made a face at Zhao Zhigang, then scolded, I want you to take care of it. The two of them got into the car. Zhang Chen deliberately kept silent. He saw Su Qiaxin adjusting the seat, then adjusting the reversing mirror and rear view mirror, and then he was about to start the car. Zhang Chen praised in his heart, you are good. It seems the Su Qiaxin looks heartless, but she actually has a careful side, which ensures that she does a good job. Su Qiaxin started the car, and when he was approaching the gate, Zhang Chen said, go out and turn left. Boss, are you not going back to the company? Su Qiaxin asked. Turn left and drive straight past number 21 street. There are no people or cars on those roads along the Jiantang River, and even the traffic lights haven't been installed yet. Go there and speed up. Zhang Chen said. Why do you need to run faster? Su Qiaxin asked. When you were driving in front of me, did you feel that the speed was too fast and you seemed to be in a hurry and couldn't take care of it? Yes, boss, how do you know? When you get there, after you have run 100 yards or 120 yards, and then drive another 50 or 60 yards, you won't feel that the speed is too fast, and you will feel that you can be very calm, Zhang Chen said. Okay, I understand, boss. Su Qiaxin suddenly started laughing while driving the car. Zhang Chen asked, why are you laughing? I'm laughing. I've earned it. The boss is practicing driving with me today, Su Qiaxin said. It's a beautiful idea. I'm doing this for myself, Zhang Chen said, you are my assistant. Once you drive the car, when we go out later, you can drive and I can sleep. Okay, then I will bring you a pillow so you can sleep beautifully in the car. Zhang Chen scolded, what kind of pillow do you want in the car? Pillow, it's so comfortable to sleep on it, Su Qiaxin said. They arrived at the Jiantang River. Sure enough, the newly built roads here were empty, and the land on both sides of the roads was still empty. No companies had settled here yet. When Su Qiaxin got here, she became excited. Zhang Chen asked her to increase the speed to 100 yards. Until the 120-yard run. At the beginning, Su Qiaxin became frightened when he saw the speed of the car reaching 100 yards. He ran back and forth a few times. After getting used to it, he relaxed. Boss, can I wait a little longer? Su Qiaxin asked. Okay, you can drive as long as you want, but I'm going to bed. Su Qiaxin became bolder at this time. She said okay, you can go to sleep. Zhang Chen put his chair down and really fell asleep. In a daze, he felt like he was back in Huihuan's office again. Zhang Chen was woken up by Su Qiaxin. He opened his eyes and was startled. It was already dark outside. The car stopped in the middle of the road. Zhang Chen asked. Why are you stopping here? How long have you been driving? Su Qiaxin didn't answer, but burst into tears. Zhang Chen was surprised and asked, what's wrong with you? Boss, I'm sorry, I broke down your car. The car suddenly stopped and it won't start no matter how you start it, Su Qiaxin said. When Zhang Chen heard this, he immediately thought of that time when a large group of people drove from Haikan to Sanya. When he stretched his head and saw, he laughed. Su Qiaxin, you are so good, you can drive the car until it lies in the middle of the road without moving. You're still laughing, what should I do? Su Qiaxin was anxious. I have a way, Zhang Chen said, call Zhao Zhigang and ask him to send a car from the factory. Pull us away. Send the gasoline, Zhang Chen said, Sukioxen, you have run out of gasoline. Really? Sukioxen burst into laughter, isn't it broken? Is it because the oil is gone? Call quickly. Okay, I'll fight right away. As Sukioxen said this, she picked up her phone and prepared to make a call. Zhang Chen shouted, forget it, let's call Xiao Sheng. Why? The factory is close to here, Sukioxen asked. Aren't you afraid that your damn Zhao's gang is coming to watch your jokes? You're not afraid, I'm still afraid, Zhang Chen said. Sukioxen laughed, understood, and called the company's driver Xiao Sheng. Thank you to book friends 201809221901033312 and Daos Hung 123 for your monthly votes. Thanks for all the votes and reading. Have a good evening everyone. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The Pentium Era, South to North. Author, Mei Shi Niang. Chapter 1394. Zhang Chen went to Xiaofang's room and moved Xiao Zhao's urn and portrait back to his room. Xiaofang wouldn't be back next year anyway, and he Hongmei was in Hangzhou now and no longer lived here. Xiao Zhao, let's go back to the room, Zhang Chen and Xiao Zhao said. Putting the urn on the bedside table, Zhang Chen picked up the towel and wiped it gently. While wiping, he talked to Xiao Zhao. He told him about the additional order from Target and that he wanted to return to the headquarters. He Dongmei and Ma Ya were worried about the agency franchise fee. They said, what should we do and what should our agents do? The general agent collected half of the franchise fee for their agents, and the other half was handed over to the company. Of course, there was no problem with the company. When he decided to refund the franchise fee, Zhang Chen had already included this half and wanted to refund it. The problem with second and third level agents is that there are still half of them. If the general agents are asked to withdraw, many of them are unwilling to do so. This is also what Zhang Chen thinks is the most difficult thing. It can't be that half of their money has been returned, and half of the general agent's money has not been returned, and half of the things have been done, but the problem is still not solved. Moreover, even if they want to return the half they received, they don't know where to return it. It was collected through the general agent. If you want to return it, they still have to return it through the general agent. Zhao Jingjing reminded Zhang Chen that this cannot be done, otherwise we would refund half of the franchise fee to the general agent. They did not continue and withheld the half of the money. We have spent money and nothing has changed. Zhang Chen felt that what Zhao Jingjing said made sense. If so, this matter really couldn't be done. This is a delay. The problem is that now that Target's additional orders have been placed, they must reduce the exchange rate. If it cannot be reduced, the factory's production capacity cannot be released. If they want to complete the order, they must increase equipment and workers. On the one hand, there are no empty workshops in the factory now. The cost of labor is also getting higher and higher, and they don't want to add more people. Especially when there is a lot of existing production capacity and new waste is constantly being generated. The increase in labor costs is not only in wages themselves, but also in many other places. The most troublesome thing in factories now is signing labor contracts. The labor contracts seem to be very high-end and are designed to protect workers, but they are exactly the same. The last thing workers want to sign is that every time a new group of workers comes, the biggest headache for them is how to persuade them to sign a labor contract. The reason is very simple. After signing a labor contract, you have to pay Social Security. In addition to the large increase in expenses for the unit, individual employees also have to withhold a part of their monthly wages. This is the part that workers think it's a scam. At that time, Social Security was not connected to the internet across the country. If you paid it in Zhejiang, it would be useless when you returned to Anhui, and you could not even see a doctor. What most criticized the workers was that the Social Security must be paid continuously and could not be enjoyed until the end of the year. And workers, we go out to work, who doesn't want to take a break? It is normal to work for half a year and take a few months off every year. It is also normal to work outside for a few years, then go back home to build a house or something, and stay for a year and a half. When he is at work, his salary can be deducted. If he does not work, he must make up for the part paid by his original employer. Otherwise, it will be interrupted and his salary will be gone. How can he make up for it? Should you use your little savings to pay for Social Security? There are many more. When he came out to work, he was already in his 50s. You asked him to pay for 15 years before he could enjoy it. The workers scolded me and asked me to hand it over to the coffin. What's more important is that at that time, there were very few factories that actually signed labor contracts and paid Social Security. Not to mention that it would be interrupted when he returned. He just stopped working in Zhang Chen's factory and it would be interrupted when he changed factories. Zhang Chen also felt that this was a plan devised by some idiot. Why is it so complicated to interrupt and make up payments? Why can't we pay more and benefit more, and pay less and benefit less? Even if he only pays for 3 months, when he reaches retirement age, you can just let him enjoy 1 or 2 yuan a month. Anyway, he can enjoy as much as he pays. Isn't this reasonable? The increase in labor costs is due to the increase in Social Security and the increase in wages themselves. The wages of workers in Xiaosha now have more than doubled compared to when they were in Sanbeo. While wages have increased, living conditions have also improved. Factory workers are provided with food and accommodation. Now prices are rising rapidly, but the food in their employee canteens is still improving. The workers' daily labor intensity is so high. The food is not good. How to increase their appetite? If you don't eat well, how can you have the strength to work? The weather in Hangzhou is extremely hot in summer and freezing in winter. They not only installed air conditioners in the workshops and canteens, but also installed air conditioners in the employee dormitories. They also changed the original collective bathrooms into individual bathrooms. There is a separate bathroom in each room. The reason is also very simple. If workers don't even get a good rest, how will they have the strength to work? All these changes have turned into costs. Although each item does not seem to increase much, considering that they are a factory with thousands of employees, every little increase on each person's head adds up to a big number. So they are different from previous years. In the past few years, they were afraid that they would have too few workers. Now, what they are most afraid of is adding more workers. The factory's production capacity has reached a time when it must be released. Zhang Chen and Xiao Li said that the stalemate cannot continue and the exchange rate must be lowered to 10%. In this way, the franchise fee of the general agent will be refunded to them to avoid them. Long-winded. They decide for themselves whether to refund or not, as long as they have the ability to swallow up this exchange rate. Zhao Jingjing and Zhang Chen said that there is another way. If the franchise fee of the general agent is refunded, the agents below them can refund it if they want, but they must contact us themselves and send back the franchise agreement, saying that we want make a note on the agreement, otherwise, with so many franchise stores, we would not know which one has withdrawn and which has not. With such a request, the general agent cannot hide it from us. Zhang Chen and Xiao Li both thought this was a good idea. Xiao Li said, "Don't hold any meetings. A large group of people coming and making noise will only cause chaos. I think we can decide this matter ourselves. Anyway, the franchise fee has been refunded to them, and the general agent has nothing to do with it. You can say whatever they want to complain about, let them complain to me. If you don't want to do something, then don't do it. We will develop another general agent with no franchise fee. Don't be too easy to find, grandmas." The girls upstairs, following Su Kioxin, now always say grandmas in their words, Whether it's Xiao Li, Ji Ling, or Li Wei, no matter what happens, they always end up saying grandmas. Zhang Chen laughed and scolded them, "Why did grandma offend you?" "No, grandma is blessing us. You see, religious people don't always say amen at the end." "We love grandma, grandma," Su Qiaxin said. "Xiao Zhao, you also know that those people will definitely have opinions, but there is no way. If we don't do it now, we will regret it in the future." Zhang Chen and Xiao Zhao said, "Don't worry, He Dongmei and Ma Ya, I will personally." I called them and reassured them, and they understood. By the way, Xiao Zhao, Zhang Xiangbei has already gone to study with Awen. Awen promised that she would definitely let Zhang Xiangbei pass in one try. Even if she comes to teach in person, she also supports Zhang Xiangbei going to the United States. She said that even though I, a Taiwanese, have moved to the mainland, this person still has to move to survive. That's the truth when you think about it. Are you right? Xiao Zhao, our son will study in the United States in the future. What are we afraid of in the United States? There is also Xiao Fang in the United States. As a man, he just needs to go to the dock more often. People who worship the mountains mature faster, don't you think? At that time, we didn't have the conditions. We could only go as far as Hainan Island. If we could go to the United States, then maybe I wouldn't go to Haikan, but Philadelphia or New York, oh, if we leave the United States, we will no longer know each other, and there will be no Zhang Xiangbei. Forget it, let's just stick with Haikan." Zhang Chen also told Xiao Zhao about his visit to Huihuan today. Zhang Chen said, "I am very sad." Really, Xiao Zhao is also at a loss. "Sometimes, I really don't know what to do. Hung Mei always says that she is afraid. Actually, I am afraid too. I'm very afraid of getting married, Xiao Zhao. When we were together, we never quarreled. Although I know now that you actually have a lot of grievances, we never quarreled, right? But when we are with other people, I don't know. I'm very afraid that two people will be together and noisy all day long. How will that be different from being in hell? You don't have to do anything, you don't have to think about anything. Just think about quarreling." Hung Mei, Huihuan, and Xiao Zhao all have stubborn tempers. When Hung Mei was still my apprentice, when the three of us were together, she was not so stubborn, but she and I have become closer. Why do I feel that she is not as easy to talk to as before, and the harmony between the two of us is not as harmonious as before? This is especially true for Huihuan. She is now older than Brother Zhang and younger than Brother Zhang. She has a low eyebrow and looks good on the eyes. But I am not sure, Xiao Zhao, will she change again when we are really together? I have seen her trying to fight with others. We are a couple. One day she becomes cruel and wants to fight with me. How can I bear it? Xiao Zhao, I'm really scared. I don't know why this is happening, and I don't know if everyone is like this. The physical distance is close, even to the negative distance, but the heart seems to be far away and becomes elusive. Yes, why doesn't this happen when we are together? Oh, Xiao Zhao, when a man and a woman are together, I sometimes think about it, just like a pair of chopsticks, the length and thickness of the two chopsticks must be the same, so that they can be used smoothly. I just make do with two different chopsticks. They can be used together, but they are just uncomfortable. Why are you laughing? Xiao Zhao, I know you are laughing. Do you want to say that I am actually much more difficult to deal with than I seem? Yes, I am just difficult to deal with. My temper is actually very weird. It seems that I only have you can handle it, but it's a pity that you are no longer here. I really miss you, Xiao Zhao. Thank you for the reward of 2 fishes at around 3 o'clock in the middle of the night. Thank you to Daoisan, 1111 Zi, Chien Dad, and book friend 202009031727593111 for your monthly votes. Thanks for all the votes and reading. I wish you all good health. The Pentium Era, South to North. Author, Mei Shi Niang. Chapter 1395. Zhang Chen went out in the morning and first went to the lakeside oil painting gallery. Zhao Xian had just purchased a batch of paintings and asked Zhang Chen to go and have a look. Zhang Chen stayed at the oil painting gallery until noon before going to the company. As soon as Zhang Chen walked into his office, Xiao Li ran in and told him, "Grandma, I have been besieged by those general agents all morning." "How is it?" Zhang Chen asked. "It's okay, I won't let go at all, and they have nothing to do. The franchise fee has been refunded to them. They want to do it, but they can't." Xiao Li said, "They threatened me and said that he would stop doing it. I threatened them in turn and told them, look at the market now, are there any brands that don't charge franchise fees? We are the only ones with half of them. Do you think it's difficult to recruit agents because of Mu Tian's popularity? It doesn't charge a franchise fee, Grandma. If I get tough, they will get soft, for fear that I will cancel their general agent qualification." Zhang Chen smiled and said, "That's right, but you still have to have a good attitude. After all, we have been doing business together for so long, and it is not easy for them. Also, Grandma is so old, so don't go out." Xiao Li also smiled and said, No, Grandma stayed at home and didn't go out. I just told you when I told you. However, boss, I thought about it last night and our exchange rate really has to be adjusted down, otherwise we will die ugly." "Oh, why?" Zhang Chen asked. "We used to rely mainly on Beijing, Shanghai, and Hangzhou to handle inventory. Our 3 stores held activities every month. The activities of these 3 stores handled almost half of our inventory every year. Now, the stores in Beijing and Shanghai, there are no stores anymore. I took a look yesterday and found that our inventory for this year is a headache to digest. We may not be able to finish it until next year. Xiao Wan also told me that there are already too many discounted stocks in our store, and the distribution center will send everything that cannot be sold to her. If this continues, our store will become a specialty store. The store in the West will sell poorly if it is famous. Boss, tell me, does what Xiao Wan said make sense?" Zhang Chen said, "Yes, you are right to consider this. If this continues, our inventory will indeed become increasingly difficult to handle. They used to have 3 of their own stores, and when they held special events every month, the used goods in stock were sold at 50% or 40% off. For customers, it was already a good deal, but for Zhang Chen and the others, it was also a good deal. There is profit, no loss. If they don't sell it in their own specialty stores, but send it to agents, and on the basis of the 50 or 40% discount, plus a 30% discount, they will definitely lose money. They can't even sell it at the counters in shopping malls. The retail price is 50% or 40% off, which is 77 or 80. It has deducted nearly 30 rebates from the mall. It has long been a loss. It can't even make a salesperson's salary. The most important thing is, there are only so many counters in the mall, and they don't even carry all the seasonal products. Where is the place to display these stocks? Fortunately, we have opened a special price counter on Dabao.com, and the effect is pretty good, but the sales volume is still small after all. If the inventory cannot be controlled, our warehouse will be full. Thinking about it this way, I will be more cautious today. I don't dare to let go," Xiao Li said. "The most annoying thing about making clothes is that there are too many styles, colors, and sizes of clothes. You can't have so many new styles of clothes for a season. Each style can have as few as 3 or 4, as many as 7 or 8 colors, and the size, there are at least 3. In the north, they are usually M, L, and it is difficult to say that every color and size of each style is completely sold out. When hundreds of styles are gathered together and finally gathered in their warehouse, it is an astonishing number. Zhang Chen feels that if a clothing company eventually collapses, there will be no exceptions. It will definitely be crushed by inventory. The boxes piled in the warehouse are all money, and they will depreciate rapidly until there is no money worth the money. The difference between clothing and other products is that if you sell the same product for 5 yuan, it may not sell better than if you sell it for 5,000 yuan. But when a piece of clothing or a bag cannot be sold for 5,000 yuan, you can sell it for 5 yuan. It's very likely that it won't be able to sell even more. If all the products in the LV store are sold at 51 units starting from today and sold for a month, this brand will be sold out, and its sales volume will most likely decline. Zhang Chen felt that this was the case with Apple jeans and leather shoes for old men. When they first entered the market, they were still high-end products. Later, they became cheaper and cheaper. Finally, they sold themselves as street stalls. Esprit and Giordano also sold themselves in this way. Lost my life. Long-term pain is worse than short-term pain. Just this moment, we can reverse it, Zhang Chen and Xiao Li said. Xiao Li said, okay, I understand, boss. Xiao Li walked to the door, turned around, and said to Zhang Chen, by the way, if someone calls you and you answer the phone, tell him that I am taking care of this matter and ask him to find me. Alas, sometimes it's too easy to talk. Zhang Chen smiled and said, I already said this yesterday, I lied to them that I was in Sanya. No wonder, Xiao Li nodded. There's only He Dongmei. I talked to her on the phone for an hour yesterday, Zhang Chen said. Xiao Li smiled and said, she is different. She is a relative of the emperor. She has never even called me. Zhang Chen was stunned for a moment. When Xiao Li walked out with a smile, he remembered what Xiao Li said about He Dongmei being a relative of the emperor. Zhang Chen was shocked. Oh no, he has been troubled about this matter for so long. I have never thought that I should call He Hongmei first and tell her about this matter. Zhang Chen remembered that Chongqing was their first general agent, and it was not He Dongmei or their parents who decided to be the general agent of Ban Mutian, but He Hongmei. Zhang Chen looked at He Hongmei's MSN online and wanted to talk to her about this matter, but felt that it was not clear online. He still picked up the phone and called He Hongmei and told her about the matter. On the phone, Zhang Chen, it's obvious that this thing is bad, and if I don't make this call today, it will be even worse. He Hongmei didn't wait for Zhang Chen to finish the matter, so she told him, I understand, He Dongmei has called me many times. I called you many times, why didn't you tell me? Zhang Chen asked. I told you, does it work? He Hongmei asked coldly. What she actually meant was, shouldn't you tell me first? You have decided on this matter for so long, and you just thought of telling me today. What do you mean? Do you want me to wipe your ass? Zhang Chen quickly explained why he did this. He Hongmei said, I know the situation in the factory even if you don't tell me. I just want to tell you that when we were preparing to open this store in Chongqing, we also made great determination and risked it. You took a huge risk. He Dongmei hasn't caused you any trouble in all these years, right? No, she has always supported us. You still know, He Hongmei sneered, then do you know that now that you have lowered the exchange rate to 10%, you have thrown all the trouble to He Dongmei? Do you think this is a refund? Can it be solved with the franchise fee? When He Hongmei said this, Zhang Chen was also confused. He was also a little anxious and quickly said to He Hongmei, it's okay. I told Xiao Li that there is no exchange rate restriction at He Dongmei's place. No need, treat everyone equally. After He Hongmei said that, she hung up the phone. Zhang Chen was sitting there in a daze with the phone in his hand. He Hongmei's words, when we were planning to open this store in Chongqing, we made great determination and took great risks. He was struck by He Hongmei's words. Indeed, he also knew that under the circumstances at that time, it would not be easy for He Dongmei and the others to give up the business that was doing well in the market, spend such a large investment, rent a store, and pay a franchise fee out of thin air. At that time, 100,000 yuan was not the 100,000 yuan now. At that time, 100,000 yuan was more than enough to buy a house in splendid home. Just like what Xiaoli and Zhang Chen said that day, without the franchise fees paid by everyone at that time, his business would not have developed so fast, and there would be no such things later. Now that your business has developed and you have money, once tens of millions of dollars no longer puts pressure on you. At this time, if you look back and make a decisive decision, this does not mean that you have thrown all the troubles to the general agents. Your own long-term pain is worse than short-term pain, and you are happy, but in fact the pain does not disappear out of thin air. You throw all the pain to them. Their entire sales network, which they have worked so hard to build, is not just a matter of money. Zhang Chen felt that he did not look at the problem from their perspective. This matter was decided in a hurry and went too far. He should have called He Hongmei to discuss this matter long ago. He Hongmei is the one who can really consider the problem from the perspective of both the general agent and Zhang Chen's factory. She is very familiar with both aspects. Familiar, and it can be said that it is the palm of the hand and the back of the hand, but I just ignored this. Zhang Chen also thought that home is not simply a place to eat or sleep at night. Home also includes your whole person, including everything about you. You don't discuss anything with He Hongmei, whether it is the botanical garden in Sanya or the general agent. No matter what happened, it was actually you who drew an invisible line between you and He Hongmei. You are telling her with practical actions that what is yours, and what is mine is still mine. Although I was like this when I was with Xiao Zhao before, at that time, Xiao Zhao and you were already husband and wife, and you were already one body. There was nothing that was yours or mine. The most Xiao Zhao could blame for your behavior was, you have a bad temper, but He Hongmei is different. But now, there is no way to undo this matter. Zhang Chen feels that the gap between himself and He Hongmei will deepen because of this matter. He even thought that when He Dongmei called He Hongmei, her words must not have been harmonious. She sounded so nice during the phone call, but He Hongmei silently accepted it and never told him about He Dongmei calling her. And she was suffering in her heart. Zhang Chen wanted to call Xiaoli and Zhao Jingjing over and talk to them about this, but he felt it was inappropriate. This Xiaoli has already done something evil. How do you ask her to take it back now? Slap yourself in the face? The most important thing is that this is what they have to do now. If you take a step back, you may be completely defeated. If you retreat, there is no way to retreat. Zhang Chen wanted to call He Hongmei again, but felt that this call was already too light. Zhang Chen opened ctrip.com and booked a ticket to Beijing in the evening. Then, he made himself another cup of tea, sat down, calmed himself down, and began to think about writing an email to the general agents. You must make up for the lost time, and at least have a correct mentality. It is not you who have made them earn so much over the years. On the contrary, your company can develop to what it is today because of their contributions. You must at least express your gratitude first, and then express your apology. Attitude doesn't determine everything, but it can define the relationship between you. Thank you for your monthly votes of Fengdong Sui Kan, Jinwu Lanji, Wind in Fantasy, and Daekyong 666. Thanks for all the votes and reading. Have a good evening everyone. The Pentium Era, South to North. Author, Mei Shi Niang. Chapter 1396. When Zhang Chen arrived in Beijing, it was already past 8 o'clock in the evening. He got into a taxi and ran to He Hongmei's villa. This time when he came to Beijing, Zhang Chen didn't call He Hongmei. He knew that if He Hongmei received his call, she would definitely tell him, no, you don't need to come because of He Dongmei's matter. Zhang Chen came here this time, of course, because of He Dongmei, or because he suddenly reduced the exchange rate to 10%, but more importantly, it was for their own sake. He knew that if he didn't come today, there would be a gap between the two of them. It will be deeper. Zhang Chen couldn't bear it. People are such strange animals. Although they know that it will be difficult for them to get together if they take a step forward, it is even more difficult for him to take a step back and break up from now on, especially for Zhang Chen. Zhang Chen remembered that he and Jin Lili had almost found a job through Jin Lili, but he and Zhang Ziyi had never been able to find a job. Zhang Chen didn't know why, but there was an unknown fire in his heart. It can be said that the two of them started from then on. They gradually drifted away, but even in such an environment, Zhang Chen did not say the word breakup. If it weren't for external factors in the end, Zhang Chen didn't know how long their awkward relationship would have lasted. Many years later, Zhang Chen looked back at the situation at that time and thought about his state at that time. He felt that it was loss. Yes, it was the loss that made him angry for no reason. Zhang Chen has a high self-esteem. He has always felt that it would not be easy for him to find a job no matter where he goes. On the contrary, he thought that Jin Lili would have a more difficult time. After all, he did not have a diploma or any skills, but Zhang Chen had a high self-esteem. Chen thought it was okay, as long as he could find a job and he could support Jin Lili. Zhang Chen set off on the road with the mentality of protecting Jin Lili from the moment they set off on their journey to Hainan. But he didn't expect that when he arrived in Haikan, the first person to find a job was Jin Lili. But he himself, in that strange city, had no luck. He was so unlucky that he was not even qualified to be a waiter in a restaurant. Go to the farm to grow rubber. He failed to protect Jin Lili. On the contrary, it was Jin Lili who gave him money, treated them to dinner, and bought him a BB machine. Even his job was introduced to him by Jin Lili. This kind of gap made Zhang Chen feel inexplicably. A kind of humiliation, everything they have should come from this. For him and He Hongmei, there are no external factors, and there is nothing from each other. Even if it is invisible humiliation, he still likes He Hongmei, and He Hongmei also likes him. How could he give up because of this? When reading books and watching movies, many people will worry about the ancients. No, they are not worried about the ancients, but they decide for the ancients. It should be this way and that way. It is always easy to decide for others, but it is difficult when you are really involved. Unless you have just it was all hypocrisy from the beginning, with no emotional investment. For an actor who is immersed in a role, it is very difficult to leave the show after the performance is over, let alone two people who truly love each other. They can stop with just a click. Zhang Chen looked out the car window. Starting from the airport, the whole of Beijing was a big construction site. They were building bridges, roads, and houses. People were burning the midnight oil everywhere. The whole city was not cleaning to welcome guests, but smashing the doors at home. The altars and jars are being completely renovated to welcome the Olympics. Zhang Chen arrived at the gate of He Hongmei's community and registered to enter the community. From a distance, he saw that He Hongmei's villa was completely dark. Only then did Zhang Chen remember that He Hongmei's workshop and studio had been moved away. Now here, just where the three of them live. He Hongmei is now in Beijing and has registered a Beijing Hongmei Huikai Clothing Co. Limited. Zhang Chen doesn't know the specific address of their company. He only knows that it is near to Hongmen, which makes it easier to buy noodles and accessories. There are already nearly 200 in the company. Among employees, Qian is the general manager and is responsible for managing the company. Most of the company's business is selling Red Plum Blossoms clothing on Doubao.com. There is also the business of undertaking the costume production of film and TV series for which He Hongmei is the costume designer. The three of them must still be in the company now. Zhang Chen got off the car at the door. When he got here, he still didn't want to call He Hongmei, ask for the address of the company, and ask the taxi to take him there. Whether it was a surprise or a shock, Zhang Chen just wanted to suddenly appear in the car today. In front of He Hungmei. Zhang Chen stood outside the gate for a while, and it started to rain. He looked around and saw that except under a few big trees, there was no other place to take shelter from the rain. There was not even a shelter above the iron gate. There was no rain shelter, and if he was hiding under a tree, Zhang Chen was worried that if he was seen by the patrolling security guards, he would be kicked out. Zhang Chen thought for a while, then climbed in through the iron gate of the yard and ran to the gate of the villa inside. There was a large awning here, which prevented him from getting wet. Zhang Chen sat on the ground leaning against the closed gate. He wanted to smoke, but he was worried that the extinguished fireworks would attract patrolling security guards, so he held back. It was very dark, but after sitting in the dark for a long time, my eyes had adapted to the dark night, and I could still start to distinguish the surrounding scenery. He saw that the yard was still the same as before and had not been renovated. He thought that these three busy girls used this place as a dormitory, and no one had the time to take care of the flowers and plants. Zhang Chen put his head on his knees, looked at it, and fell asleep. A dazzling light woke Zhang Chen up. Zhang Chen raised his head from where he was sitting and saw a car that had just entered the yard and stopped. The lights were facing him. The people in the car were probably also caught by the lights. Next, the person sitting at their door was shocked. The people in the car saw the person sitting clearly, the door opened, and the people in the car ran here. Zhang Chen heard Wenwen shouting, "Mr. Zhang, why is it you?" Wenwen and Qian ran over first, He Hungmei walked last. Qian asked, "Mr. Zhang, how did you get in?" Zhang Chen said, "The person who crawled in was outside and was worried that the security would see him and kick him out." The three people laughed, and Wenwen said, "Yes, yes. You look like this, and you are ready to come to the capital to cause destruction." Qian opened the door and the light, and the four of them entered the house. He Hungmei looked at Zhang Chen, reached out and touched the top of his head, and said, "It's still raining, so go take a shower." "Yes, yes, let's take a bath first," Wenwen shouted. He Hungmei glared at her, and Wenwen said, "What? If you can't get in, I won't get in if you don't." Qian laughed, "I can also help." "Oh, Mr. Zhang, you are going to feel so comfortable today." "Mr. Zhang, please tell me if you want it." Wenwen looked at Zhang Chen and shouted. Zhang Chen quickly shouted, "Don't dare, don't dare, I'm not a stick." He Hungmei took Zhang Chen's arm and said to them, "It's a beautiful idea." Then he said to Zhang Chen, "Let's go up." "Be stingy, share it and you won't die," Wenwen said. "No," He Hungmei yelled at her and took Zhang Chen upstairs. All the machines in the villa have been moved away, and now the living room on the first floor has been restored to the living room. Wenwen and Qian live on the second floor, and He Hungmei still lives on the third floor. When they arrived on the third floor, He Hungmei hugged Zhang Chen. After the two kissed for a while, He Hungmei said angrily, "Why are you here?" "I miss you, can't I?" Zhang Chen said. "No," He Hungmei said, but her voice was joyful. She pushed Zhang Chen into the bathroom and said to him, "Hurry up and take a shower. Wash away the rainwater. Be careful of getting lice." Zhang Chen laughed and asked, "Who told you that you will get lice if you get caught in the rain?" "Oh, don't worry about it. My mother has been telling me this since I was little. Wash it quickly." He Hungmei closed the bathroom door. Zhang Chen took off his clothes and was about to wash it. The door opened again and He Hungmei walked in. Zhang Chen asked, "What, you want to participate too?" He Hungmei giggled. After the two took a bath, they hugged and moved outside the bathroom, hugged and fell on the bed. Just as they were about to continue, they heard Wenwen standing outside at the stairway from the second floor to the third floor, shouting, "Is it inappropriate for children? If not, I'll come up. I'm going to die," He Hongmei cursed and quickly got up to put on her clothes. Jiang Chen laughed. You are still laughing, hurry up, they will really kick the door in, He Hongmei said to Jiang Chen with a blush on her face. The two got dressed and walked out. Wen Wen and Qian were already standing at the stairs on the third floor, but they didn't come over. When they saw the two people coming out, they came over. Wen Wen asked, Mr. Jiang, have we done anything bad to you? Jiang Chen nodded and said yes. Then what should I do? Or I have to compensate you for myself, she said and looked at Qian. Take another Qian. Qian said, I do. The two people laughed wildly. He Hongmei cursed, don't be crazy, what's the matter? Wen Wen said, seeing Mr. Jiang makes us hungry. He Hongmei was surprised and asked, didn't you already eat it before? Oh, why are you so ungrateful? We have eaten it, but Mr. Jiang has never eaten it, and he is too embarrassed to say, Mr. Jiang is not, Wen Wen asked. Jiang Chen said yes, I am the only one who sneaked in to destroy the capital. How dare I linger around? Look, isn't it, Wen Wen said, I can have another meal with you. I can do it too, and I'm not afraid of the long journey, Qian said. That's right, Mr. Jiang traveled thousands of miles from Hangzhou to come to the Magpie Bridge Club in Beijing. Of course he wanted to invite the best, Wen Wen said. Where is the most famous late-night snack in Beijing? Qian asked. Of course it's Gaija, Wen Wen said. Then should we invite Mr. Jiang to Gaija? Qian asked. That's great. The company can reimburse me, Wen Wen said. What should I do if the boss doesn't agree? Qian asked. Stupid, you don't know how to make false accounts, Wen Wen said. The two of them sang and then started laughing again. Jiang Chen and He Hongmei stood there, looking at them helplessly. With such a pair of living treasures by his side, Jiang Chen thought, at least He Hongmei would not be lonely. The four people went downstairs and walked to the door. They saw that even the car had been turned around and its buttocks were facing the door of the villa. The four people got in the car, Wen Wen drove, Qian sat in the passenger seat, and Jiang Chen and He Hongmei sat in the back seat. Wen Wen started the car and said to them, we are reunited after a long separation. You can kiss in the back. I can't see it, Qian shouted. It's not surprising to see it. People all over the country know how to kiss, Wen Wen said. Drive your car well, you talk so much, He Hongmei scolded, but her hand had long been tightly held with Jiang Chen's. Thanks for the half-drunk tip. Thank you, Murin, Mingchenzi, waiting time, and book friends 201906211331102536 for your monthly votes. Thanks for all the votes and reading. I wish you all a happy mood. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The Pentium Era, South to North. Author, Mei Shi Niang. Chapter 1397. They arrived at Gaija Street. On the entire Gaija Street, rows of red lanterns were hung at the entrance of almost every store. Most of the storefront decorations along the street were mainly red. Standing at this end of the street and looking inside, Jiang Chen saw, I feel that this place is not like a night snack street, but more like a red light district. They entered a shop and sat down. Wen Wen quickly ordered 3 or 4 flavors of crayfish, including spicy, 13 spice, and boiled with minced garlic and water. There were 4 full basins of crayfish. The dishes are very simple, just a plate of beef in sauce, a plate of cucumbers, and a plate of salted edamame. Wen Wen and Jiang Chen said, Mr. Jiang, when we arrive at the Dragon King Palace today, we will have trouble with crayfish. Are you afraid that Aobai's father will come to you? Who is Aobai's father? Jiang Chen asked. Dragon King of the East China Sea, Neza is the one in the sea. If you eat his shrimp soldiers and crab generals, he still won't come to you, Wenwen said. That's A.O. Bing, and Obai, you illiterate, Obai is the one who was killed by Stephen Chow in The Deer and the Cauldron. He Hungmei scolded. Moreover, this crayfish is not from the sea, but from the fields. If you want to find it, it is the landmaster who is looking for you, Zhang Chen said. Wenwen was stunned for a moment and cursed, well, drinking with you educated people is really boring. I made two fools of myself in one sentence. I came with that strong man. After talking about this, he always admired me and thought I understood there are so many. Zhang Chen, He Hungmei and Qian laughed. Zhang Chen said, you are just trying to stand up from the flock. What do you mean? Wenwen asked. Zhang Chen smiled and said nothing. He Hungmei said, he is scolding you, and only being illiterate will make you appear less illiterate. Okay, Mr. Zhang, I've written it down. I can use it next time, Wenwen giggled. While they were talking and laughing, two girls came over and stood next to them. Qian thought that these two girls were here to sell singing, and told them, we don't want to request songs. The two girls blushed. They looked at Zhang Chen and asked, excuse me, are you Wu Jinaiyu? Zhang Chen was stunned for a moment, and Wenwen shouted, you are too powerful. We even disguised him as a blind man, and you still recognized him. The two girls were excited when they heard it and shouted, it's really Wu Jinaiyu, great. Zhang Chen had no choice but to smile and nod towards them. Mr. Wu, can we take a photo with you? One of the girls asked. Before Zhang Chen could say anything, Wenwen shouted, that's great. This is Beijing. Even Hong Kong people must be close to the people when they get here. Are you right, Brother Wu? Zhang Chen could only continue to nod. Come on, get up and take a photo. Wenwen said and pulled Zhang Chen up. Qian also got excited and pulled Zhang Chen from the other side. Two people pulled him up. Wenwen asked the two girls if they could take a photo here. The two girls nodded repeatedly. Come on, give me the camera and you guys stand over, Wenwen said. The girl gave the camera to Wenwen, walked over, and stood in front of Zhang Chen. Wenwen raised the camera and put it down again. She said to Zhang Chen, Brother Wu, please be more friendly to the people. You shouldn't. Qian picked up Zhang Chen's two hands, one on each side, and put them on the girl's shoulders. The two girls were so excited that their faces turned red. Wenwen said, come on, hold your heads together again. Go to the middle, a little closer to this Aberdeen, and a little closer. Qian reached out and moved their heads so that they were all close to Zhang Chen's chest. Yes, that's good, that's it. Wenwen pressed the shutter with her finger and the flash flashed. Would you like another one? Wenwen asked. The two girls nodded repeatedly, and Wenwen came up with another one. After taking the photo, the girl took out the book and asked Zhang Chen to sign it. People often said that he looked like Wu Jinaiyu. Zhang Chen was naturally more concerned about Wu Jinaiyu's affairs. He drew them for them based on Wu Jinaiyu's signature in his memory. Got to. There were already 3 or 4 people standing next to them. After Zhang Chen signed the names of the two girls, they also asked Zhang Chen to sign their names, and Zhang Chen was satisfied with them all. After being busy for a while, it finally calmed down. The 4 of them sat there and looked at each other. They wanted to laugh but were holding back their laughter. Wenwen and Qian no longer called Zhang Chen, Mr. Zhang, but continued calling him Brother Wu. Zhang Chen didn't even dare to say a word. He could only bury his head in eating crayfish. He was afraid that if he opened his mouth, someone would hear that he was a fake. He couldn't speak a word of Cantonese. The 4 of them finished their supper and walked outside. Wenwen patted Zhang Chen on the shoulder and said with a smile, "Are you enjoying yourself today? What kind of addiction do you have?" "I'm sitting there, not daring to say a word. I'm almost exhausted," Zhang Chen cursed, and the 3 girls laughed. It's a pity that this boss is not a fan of Wu Jinyu. Otherwise, he might give us a free order, Ween Wen said. What a beautiful idea, He Hongmei said. Zhang Chen felt a little strange and asked them, are Wu Jinyu and I really so similar? He Hongmei said, there are often rumors that celebrities eat late-night snacks in Gaija Street, which makes people suspicious. Ween Wen stared at Zhang Chen and said, if you put on sunglasses and a mask, it would look more like him. Why does it look more like wearing sunglasses? Zhang Chen asked. Those bullshit second and third-rate celebrities like to wear sunglasses most at the airport. They say they are afraid of being recognized and annoying, Ween Wen said, I think they are afraid that no one will notice them. If they don't pretend to be a fool, just ignore them. If you wear sunglasses at the airport, people will definitely think you are Wu Jinyu. The four of them got into the car, and Ween Wen was still driving. Ween Wen started the car, and He Hongmei told her to find a hotel for Mr. Zhang first. Is there something wrong with you? Ween Wen shouted, which hotel are you looking for? Are you afraid that we will eavesdrop on you, or are you afraid that we have more money? If you have more money, let's go. I'll turn around and we'll have another meal. If you're afraid of us eavesdropping, don't worry, Mr. Zhang's movements are not as big as those of Hercules, just ask Qian Qian. Qian Qian was laughing randomly on the side. Zhang Chen and He Hongmei were pulled back to the villa by Ween Wen. They entered the room and looked around. Zhang Chen took a deep breath and said, I haven't spent the night in this room for a long time. He Hongmei asked, does it smell good? Zhang Chen nodded and said, it smells good. He Hongmei giggled, okay, I'll take you in. If you don't take me in, I won't have anywhere to go, Zhang Chen said. Down below, there are two more people who will take you in, He Hongmei pointed downstairs. Okay, then I'll go. Zhang Chen made a gesture and walked towards the door, but He Hongmei grabbed him and said angrily, how dare you? Zhang Chen smiled and said, I don't dare, I'm afraid that a strong man will beat me to death. The two of them laughed and entered the bathroom. They had just eaten crayfish, and their bodies were filled with the smell of spicy food. The previous bath was in vain and they needed to take another one. It can be seen that He Hongmei was very happy because of Zhang Chen's sudden arrival, and she was very happy the whole night. The two of them finished taking a bath and finished the unfinished business that was interrupted by Ween Wen. They lay there with He Hongmei nestled in Zhang Chen's arms. He Hongmei never mentioned He Dongmei's matter, but Zhang Chen had to mention it. Zhang Chen's hand touched He Hongmei's back and said to her, sorry. What did you say? He Hongmei was touched by Zhang Chen and felt so comfortable that she almost fell asleep. She asked after hearing Zhang Chen's words. I said sorry, Zhang Chen said. Sorry for what? I should have discussed with you in advance about changing the exchange rate, Zhang Chen said. I'm not from your company, why are you discussing with me? He Hongmei asked. Yes, you are not from our company, but you know this matter better than the people from our company, Zhang Chen said. At first, Meng Ping made a suggestion of franchising, and then he perfected the entire agreement. We did it together, have you forgotten? Also, Chongqing is our first general agent. That is also your decision. It's not me, it's my family, He Hongmei said. The people in your family didn't know what franchising was at that time. If you didn't rush back to Chongqing from Hangzhou to convince your family, how could they do it? Zhang Chen said, including many times later, and when you quarreled with people in Beijing and Zhengzhou in Westlake, you were completely involved in the whole thing. Without you, our entire system would not be so fast. Build it up. Then why don't you thank me? He Hongmei smiled and rubbed her face against his chest. Zhang Chen kissed her and said to her, thank you. So I should have discussed this matter with you earlier, including He Dongmei. Think about it, every time we have something, she is the one who supports us the most. I know that half of her does it for your sake. He Hongmei sat up, turned around and asked Zhang Chen, Do you think you need to discuss it with me because Hee Dongmei is my sister? That's the reason, Zhang Chen said honestly, but the more important reason is that you know both the general agent and our company. You can make better suggestions from your perspective. Hee Dongmei looked at Zhang Chen and said to him seriously, my suggestion is that you did the right thing. I was a little emotional in the morning, so I said those words to you. After thinking about it, you did the right thing. I was wondering if things would go well if things slow down. Is there a better way? Zhang Chen said. There is no better way. This kind of thing can only be cut across the board, Hee Dongmei said. You are a lizard now. If a lizard has its tail trampled by someone, when it wants to escape, it can only cut off its tail to survive. You're right. I know the company's situation very well. Those inventories are the tail you are being stepped on. If you don't get rid of it, you will be killed by this tail. Do you remember that SARS just came? At that time, the entire factory was almost overwhelmed by returns. No one can guarantee whether something like this will happen a second time. If it happens again and the time is longer, you will be dragged down by these returns. But Hee Dongmei can be treated specially here, Zhang Chen said. No, there's really no need. Hee Dongmei and I have made it clear that you need to change, and she needs to change too. Otherwise, you won't be able to survive, Hee Dongmei said. Thank you to Standby Time, Doll Tin Soldier, 2 fish 1 up and 1 down for the reward at 3 o'clock in the middle of the night. Thank you, Baby Tin Soldier, Feng Zhongli. Fantasy in the Wind, Book Friends 201806161225522946, follows. It doesn't matter, Win San Liu, Standby Time, Qian Dad's monthly pass. Thanks for all the votes and reading. I wish you all good health. The Pentium Era, South to North. Author, Mei Shi Niang. Chapter 1398. I was about to fall asleep just now, and you woke me up. Hee Dongmei raised her head and asked Zhang Chen, do you want to sleep? Zhang Chen shook his head, I'm not sleepy yet. Hee Dongmei got out of bed, turned around, stretched out her hand to Zhang Chen, and said to him, get up. What? Zhang Chen asked. Don't forget that you are still my master, Hee Dongmei said, dragging out the word master very long, with a bit of ridicule, and said, let's go and see my designs. Zhang Chen smiled and said, why does this master sound like a gangster to me? Hee Dongmei nodded and said seriously, yes, I like master to act like a hooligan. Zhang Chen laughed, he held Hee Dongmei's hand, and Hee Dongmei pulled him up. The two of them put on their pajamas and were about to go out. Hee Dongmei put her hand on Zhang Chen's chest and whispered, wait a moment. She walked quietly to the door, opened it suddenly, and saw that there was no one outside. She let out a long breath. Zhang Chen smiled and said, what are you doing? Those two little witches are really good at eavesdropping, Hee Dongmei said. Zhang Chen couldn't help but laugh. Don't laugh. Every time you walked from here, they. Hee Dongmei's face turned slightly red and she said, they would all imitate that voice and make fun of me. I was almost stupefied by their laughter. Zhang Chen understood. It turned out that Hee Dongmei asked him to stay in the hotel for this reason. Hee Dongmei came back, took Zhang Chen's hand, and the two of them walked to Hee Dongmei's studio next door. Hee Dongmei took out a picture folder, opened it, and took a stack of drawings from it to show to Zhang Chen. This was a design she had made for a movie. She also gave Zhang Chen a handout folder, which contained the drawings she had just given to Red Plum Blossoms. Design made by Open. The design drafts I made for the movie were very large and were drawn on quarto lead drawing paper. They were color drafts. The design drafts for Red Plum Blossoms Blooming were all drawn on A4 paper and were ink drafts, but the upper right corner was affixed with double-sided tape. I took a small piece of fabric sample because I was afraid that the sampler would use the wrong fabric. The design drawings made for the movie are more like decoration renderings. From fabrics to styles, nothing is available yet. You have to convey the ideas in your brain to the director, which depends on the rendering of color drawings. After the director approves, you go to buy fabrics and make the clothes with the effect closest to the color draft. As for the red plum blossoms blooming design, the fabrics are already available. Based on the existing fabrics, the pattern makers and sample workers are given a shape and asked to make, cut, and sew the fabric according to the shape. Made. Zhang Chen stood in front of the workbench. He first read the color manuscripts carefully one by one. He Hongmei stood behind him, hugged him from behind, stuck out her head, and told Zhang Chen, "What is the meaning of this movie? The investment is huge." Although the director is already a veteran, he is still quite strict. "Master, please help me." Zhang Chen nodded. After reading it, he sorted out the drawings and put them aside. He then took the design of red plum blossoms blooming, and while looking at it, he touched the sample of fabric attached with his fingers. "Did I take action?" Zhang Chen said. He Hongmei said Zhang Chen was not polite. He took the paper and pen on the workbench and drew quickly one by one. He redrawn the design draft of the group of red plum blossoms blooming, and what he drew again was different. It was a design that he had already modified. Zhang Chen drew a design draft in just a few minutes. When placed next to He Hongmei's original design, it looked obviously more impressive. He Hongmei was dazzled by what she saw, but she felt very satisfied in her heart. She liked to see Zhang Chen's devoted look when he was painting. What was a wonderful brush! He Hongmei felt that when the brush came into Zhang Chen's hand and started to move, "That's a wonderful stroke." He Hongmei said discouragedly, "I have been painting for 3 days. Master, you just gave me half an hour to kill me." Zhang Chen tapped He Hongmei's design draft with his finger and said to her, "You have already laid the groundwork here. What you are doing is application questions, and what I am doing is multiple choice questions. Of course, I will be faster than you. If you change mine, design will also be fast." He Hongmei laughed softly but happily. "I like to hear what you say." "No, master, do you just pick and choose what I like to hear and say it to me?" "That's right," Zhang Chen said. "Then do you want me to pick out some ugly things to say to you?" "No, no, no." He Hongmei still held Zhang Chen's waist with her hands, pressed her head against Zhang Chen's back, and pushed forward. "No, I won't allow it." Zhang Chen asked, "Where is the script?" He Hongmei said, "Oh." Let go of Zhang Chen, opened the drawer of the workbench, took out a movie script with a yellow leather cover, and handed it to Zhang Chen. Zhang Chen pointed to the sofa and said to He Hongmei, "Let's go there to take a look." He Hongmei said The two people walked over. Zhang Chen sat down on the couch. He Hongmei sat down next to him, fell down, and rested her head on Zhang Chen's thigh. Zhang Chen held her between his elbows, opened the script and started reading. "This is a martial arts film. Ever since Ang Lee's Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon won the Oscar, domestic directors in recent years seem to have found a way to be market-oriented while maintaining a certain degree of artistry. Everyone has when it comes to making martial arts films. Not only Zhang Yimou and Chen Kaiji have made them, but also younger directors. It is said that even Jia Zhang, who has always made art films, is also planning to make them." Zhang Chen looked at the script and found that it was a story with a vague era. It was difficult to tell which dynasty it took place in. This gave the costume design more room for imagination. Zhang Chen and He Hongmei said, "Since there is no big time frame, you can be more bold in design and don't be too rigid." He Hongmei didn't say a word. Zhang Chen looked down and found that she was sleeping on his lap. Zhang Chen smiled, lowered his head, kissed her on the cheek, and then continued reading the script. When He Hongmei woke up, she found herself lying on the sofa with a blanket covering her body. Then she looked at Zhang Chen. He was standing in front of the workbench, holding a paintbrush in his hand and drawing. He Hongmei stood up, walked over quietly, and hugged Jiang Chen from behind. Jiang Chen chuckled and asked, "Are you awake?" He Hongmei responded with a stretched her head to look at Jiang Chen's painting, took a breath, and sighed, "This is too beautiful." "Isn't it beautiful?" Jiang Chen said proudly, "I read the script. There is no chronological framework. The story combines martial arts and palace battles. The people in it are all prominent, and they have to go to the extreme in terms of clothing. Gorgeous, but the whole story is rather gloomy, so the color can't be too heavy, so I just use cool tones, silk and satin, but it has to give it the feel of armor." He Hongmei kept nodding. "It'll be ready soon," Jiang Chen said. "This is the last one." He Hongmei looked at several paintings spread on the table. One of them was a scene picture. He Hongmei smiled and said, "You also did the work of props. Only in such a scene can the costumes and characters, including the entire story, progress." Jiang Chen said, "This is not a scene map, but the general tone of the movie. You can give it to the director for reference." He Hongmei said yes. He Hongmei's face was pressed against Jiang Chen's back, and she said distressedly, "You only spent one night painting." Jiang Chen said with a smile, "I am so stimulated by this tune that I can't stop. I feel like I will run out of breath as soon as I stop." He Hongmei smiled softly, but thought regretfully in her heart that it was a pity that she fell asleep, otherwise, she could definitely be by the side and watch him paint all night. He Hongmei thought this, holding Jiang Chen's hands tighter, her face pressed against his back, but her eyes were already moist. "This man is going to die," He Hongmei thought to herself, and sighed secretly, "I may never be able to live without him for the rest of my life." He Hongmei pushed Jiang Chen back to the bedroom and asked him to lie down and sleep quickly. Jiang Chen lay down on the bed, looked at He Hongmei, and said like a child, "You should sleep too." He Hongmei also got on the bed and lay down next to him, hugging him, kissing him, and stroking him. Jiang Chen wanted to move his hands and feet, but He Hongmei said angrily, "Don't move, just sleep obediently. You won't do it until you wake up." Jiang Chen smiled softly and lay obediently in He Hongmei's arms, enjoying her touch and kiss. He was so sleepy that he fell asleep soon. He Hongmei looked at him, still worried that he was not asleep, and continued to pat him like a child until he snored evenly. Then He Hongmei kissed him and got up from the bed. She walked to the studio, put Jiang Chen's drawings into the folder, and looked at her watch. "Are you leaving, boss? If you don't leave, you will continue to dream of mandarin ducks and butterflies. Qian and I are leaving." Wenwen shouted at the top of the stairs. He Hongmei hurriedly walked out and shushed Wenwen, "Don't make any noise. I worked all night and just fell asleep." Wenwen giggled, "What kind of job, 2 people? Mr. Zhang is really diligent. You, draw and design for Director Feng. Make an appointment and we'll go over now," He Hongmei said. Wenwen said "Oh," raised her right hand, made an OK gesture, and walked downstairs. He Hongmei took a piece of paper and wrote on it, "My dear, I've handed in my homework. You need to wake up. Let's have lunch together when I come back. There is milk and biscuits in the refrigerator, so you should take care of yourself first." Below the signature, she did not write her name, but drew a lip. He Hongmei walked back to the bedroom with the note. Jiang Chen was already asleep. She put the note on the bedside table and pressed Jiang Chen's mobile phone on it. He turned around and walked a few steps, reluctant to leave, turned around again, squatted down at the head of the bed, lay on the edge of the bed, stared at Jiang Chen for a while, stretched out his head, and kissed him carefully on the lips. Jiang Chen, after moving for a moment, He Hongmei scurried away as if she was being shocked by electricity. Seeing Jiang Chen stop moving again and snoring evenly, He Hongmei laughed softly. She stood up, walked to the door, opened it, stood at the door, turned around, and looked at Jiang Chen. Jiang Chen was lying there motionless. Then He Hongmei walked out and closed the door gently. Thank you Lao Chantang for the tip. Thank you Lao Chantang, Miren, and Winson Liu for your monthly votes. Thanks for all the votes and reading. Have a good evening everyone. The Pentium Era, South to North. Author, Mei Shi Niang. Chapter 1399. When He Hongmei returned home, Zhang Chen was not awake yet and was sleeping soundly. He Hongmei walked over, leaned down, and kissed Zhang Chen. Unexpectedly, Zhang Chen suddenly opened his eyes. He Hongmei was startled and said ah, she exclaimed and wanted to run away, but Zhang Chen hugged her and He Hongmei fell down. It turned out that Zhang Chen had woken up a long time ago. He heard movement outside the door and knew that it was He Hongmei who was back, so he continued to pretend to be asleep, just to surprise He Hongmei and scare He Hongmei. Did you hand in your homework? Zhang Chen asked. Submitted, the director is very satisfied, he praised you, He Hongmei said. He said your idea is very right, and the one you drew, he handed it over to the stage manager, and said that the props should be made according to this tone, and he was still very good at it. Awesome. What's wrong? Zhang Chen asked. He could tell at a glance and asked me if you had been in a theater troupe before, He Hongmei said. Zhang Chen nodded and said, he must have been an artist or stage manager of a theater troupe before. Stage design, unlike movies and television, cannot copy real-life scenes. There are too many props on the stage, which are too trivial and will distract the focus and attention of the audience. It must be highly generalized. This kind of generally speaking, ordinary people may not be able to see it, but if you are in the same industry, you can tell it at a glance. When Zhang Chen drew that scene, he really showed off his original stage design skills. He Hongmei thought for a while and said, it seems that he was a prop maker in the theater troupe he was in. He was a carpenter and also painted sets. By the way, he also wanted to invite you to dinner. I knew you didn't want to go, so I declined and told him that you had returned to Hangzhou early this morning, He Hongmei said. Zhang Chen nodded and said, well done. He Hongmei lay in Zhang Chen's arms and lay quietly for a while, listening to his heartbeat. After a while, she shook him with her hand and said to him, get up, let's go have lunch. Zhang Chen said yes. The weather is very good today. After lunch, shall we go to climb the Great Wall? He Hongmei asked. Zhang Chen still said yes. Then get up quickly, He Hongmei patted Zhang Chen. Zhang Chen didn't let go of He Hongmei's hand. He said leisurely that he would definitely get up, but there was still one thing he had not done. What's going on? He Hongmei asked. What did you tell me in the morning before I went to bed? Zhang Chen asked. I want you to sleep well, He Hongmei said. Anything else? I told you to behave. Anything else? He Hongmei thought about it and blushed. Zhang Chen smiled and said, you can't keep your word, right? I'm awake now. He Hongmei was shy, but it's noon now. What happened at noon? Those two people who like to eavesdrop are not at home. It's not a great time. It doesn't matter if we open the door, Zhang Chen said. He Hongmei's heart was moved, and she said, okay, I will satisfy you, but only once, and you are not allowed to cheat. But then they stayed in bed all afternoon. They didn't go out to eat, let alone climb the Great Wall. They just got hungry in the middle, so they went to the refrigerator several times to move food and milk to the bedside table. The two of them sat on the bed and ate randomly. Throughout the afternoon, He Hongmei felt dizzy, but she seemed to be addicted and enjoyed this dizziness. She felt like she had gone back a long time ago. When Xiao Zhao was still there, she wanted something to happen in her heart, but she kept suppressing it. Then, one day, Xiao Zhao was no longer around, and she suddenly released herself. Now she had another feeling of being suppressed and then suddenly released, which was a sweet feeling. It also gave He Hongmei a long-lost experience. The two of them had been together for a long time. From the initial desire to being familiar with each other's bodies, it was inevitable that they would become a little numb and indifferent. Yesterday morning, He Hongmei received a call from Zhang Chen. She said harsh words on the phone, and when she hung up the phone, for a moment, she even felt that they were finished. Sitting there, she wanted to cry. But Zhang Chen's sudden appearance made He Hongmei very happy. Needless to say, He Hongmei immediately felt that he cared about him. What could a woman be happier than knowing that the man she likes cares about her? It is said that a separation is better than a new marriage. It is the separation that can separate two people from the daily numbness and make them feel that the other party cares, right? It was around 8 o'clock in the evening, and it was already dark outside. He Hongmei's phone rang a few times when they were busy, but Zhang Chen reached out and turned it off. Now that she turned it on, a call came in immediately. As soon as she answered the phone, Wen Wen's voice rolled out from inside. "Damn you, where have you been? You asked me to wait at the hotel and told you to come as soon as you picked up the person. Where is the person? You made me order a large table of dishes and end up eating alone." He Hongmei looked at Zhang Chen, her eyes widened and she dared not say anything. Only then did she remember that at noon, she and Wen Wen came out of the director's house and arrived at the hotel. He Hongmei asked Wen Wen to order first, and she went to pick it up herself. "Zhang Chen, come right away, but as soon as you come back you won't be able to leave." Wen Wen continued to yell on the phone. He Hongmei couldn't help but want to laugh, but she didn't dare to laugh. That would only anger Wen Wen more. Zhang Chen took the phone and said, "Idiot, you won't ask Hercules to come and eat with you. Hercules has gone to compete." "Haha, Mr. Zhang, you are still alive. I thought that tiger lady had eaten you one afternoon," Wen Wen said with a smile. "Your bones are hard enough." "Hey, Mr. Zhang, can't you get through?" Qian shouted from the side. "Where are you?" Zhang Chen asked. "In the company, Qian, and I wanted to blackmail you into treating us to a big dinner. But now, our busts are so small." "Mr. Zhang, you are not such a stingy Mr. Zhang, are you?" Wen Wen shouted. "Road." He Hongmei couldn't hold it back and laughed together with Zhang Chen. Wen Wen heard He Hongmei's voice and said to Zhang Chen, "Get that damn woman to answer the phone." He Hongmei took the phone over and said with a straight face, "If you keep nagging, I won't tear your mouth apart." Come on, I can tear the top and bottom of my mouth apart." Wen Wen said that Zhang Chen's stomach almost hurt from laughing. He Hongmei listened to her talk and became more and more outrageous. She quickly cursed, "Wait a minute, we climbed the Great Wall. We just came down the mountain and we will be here soon." After saying that, she threw the phone away, looked at Zhang Chen and asked, "Why are you laughing?" As soon as the words came out of her mouth, she couldn't help but laugh, and said to Zhang Chen, "This gangster is full of witty words when he talks about these things. Let me tell you, no matter how serious a place is, as soon as she goes there, the place will be in chaos." But strangely, she became famous all of a sudden, and everyone likes her very much. Zhang Chen said, "Of course, everyone has been a serious person for too long. It is of course strange to have such a non-serious person. Moreover, she is also a beautiful woman. If a man has this style, he is a gangster, and beautiful women will be interesting to everyone." "Don't tell me, it's true," He Hongmei said, "including those female celebrities, they all like her very much. They say that they don't have anything to worry about when they see her. She is an assistant and can enjoy herself more than me." Zhang Chen remembered that during his fashion show, those celebrities were invited by Wen Wen and they didn't spend much money. They were probably the same. When they received a call like this from Wen Wen, it was difficult to refuse. "Get up quickly, I'm sure she'll call again in 5 minutes," He Hongmei said. "Then just lie to her and say we are on the way," Zhang Chen said. He Hongmei rolled her eyes at him. "Do you think she will let you blow the horn 3 times to listen to her?" Zhang Chen laughed and quickly got up with He Hongmei. The two of them hurriedly washed up and went downstairs. As soon as they got into the car, He Hongmei's phone rang. He Hongmei pressed the speakerphone, and Wen Wen asked, "Where have you been?" "Don't rush, we're already on the way," He Hongmei said. "It's pitch dark outside, how do I know where I am?" "Then you honk the horn 3 times and I'll see if you are fighting in the field," Wen Wen said. Zhang Chen laughed, and He Hongmei honked the horn 3 times and cursed, "I'll fight you, did you hear me?" Wen Wen smiled on the phone and said, "Such a fast speed means that you are holding the steering wheel and there is no fighting. I feel relieved." He Hongmei's company is located in the south of Ziluyuan, in a yard by the Liangshui River. After entering through the Iron Gate, there is a 3-story factory building with a bungalow across it, which is the office and warehouse. The right angle between the factory building and the warehouse is vacant. In a courtyard, He Hongmei built a new glass house of more than 200 square meters by the Liangshui River as her studio and reception room. The factory building and the row of bungalows are all old houses, but the exterior walls have just been painted. He Hongmei told Zhang Chen that they would not be demolished here, but in order to welcome the Olympics, as required, they had the exterior walls of the house repainted. This yard turned out to be a quilt factory under the 2nd Lighting Bureau of Fengtai District. He Hongmei bought it for 3.8 million yuan. As soon as she saw them arriving, Wen Wen cried out that she was starving and wanted to eat quickly. Zhang Chen said, "If you are hungry, drink water first. Isn't it said that women are made of water? You have made yourself hydrated." "It's my first time here, I want to take a look first." Wen Wen pointed at He Hongmei and Qian, "They are made of water, and I am made of cement. Then you'll be less hungry. Wait a little longer and you can eat whatever you want," Zhang Chen said. Wen Wen had no choice but to follow them and go around the workshop. The 3-story factory building adds up to more than 2,000 square meters. The factory is not big, but it is well organized inside. The workers are still working. When Zhang Chen entered the workshop, he praised Qian for her ability. It didn't matter to Zhang Chen whether a garment factory was good or not. You need to ask about specific things, which can be seen intuitively with the naked eye. Those materials are piled up indiscriminately, and there is engine oil that has not been wiped for several days behind the sewing machine head. Such a factory, no matter how large it is still a bad factory. If you place the order with him, there is a high probability that it will not be wiped for several days. Something went wrong. And here, you can tell at a glance that it is a factory with good management and high-quality employees. Zhang Chen does not even need to go to the parking lot looking at the finished and semi-finished products they sew, he knows that the quality of the clothes produced here is not high. How bad? Qian was a little embarrassed by Zhang Chen's praise. She said, "We are such a small factory, how can we compare with Mr. Zhang's factory?" Zhang Chen said that regardless of the size of the factory, if the management is not in place, even if you are a workshop with 7 or 8 people, you will still not be able to manage it well. Qian, if I add 500 more people to you, you will still be able to manage it in an orderly manner. That's right. If you ask me to take care of these workers, I quarrel with them every day and I still can't take care of them, Wen Wen said, "The quarrel will make my head hurt." Zhang Chen looked at her and smiled, "Will the bust size make you smaller?" He Hongmei and Qian both laughed, and He Hongmei punched Zhang Chen. Wen Wen said, "Yes, the bust size will be smaller and the butt size will be bigger. Oh my god, it's so ugly. When I walk out, with this figure, people will think that Hercules and I are twins." Thank you Tin Soldier, half drunk and half awake, for the reward of 2 fishes at 3 o'clock in the middle of the night. Thank you for your monthly votes from Huaxin Yongxiao, 11 Zizi, Guzio Kyokiu, Book Friends 201912162129444508, Baby Tin Soldier, Tianying 1978, Standby Time, Book Friends 201806161225522946, Galaxy, Winsanliu, Qian Dad, I am a bandit. Thanks for all the votes and reading. I wish you all good health. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The Pentium Era, South to North. Author, Mei Shi Niang. Chapter 1400. He Hung Mei now also has a fabric warehouse, which mostly contains fabrics from Boss CAI of the Sijiking fabric market. He Hung Mei is now Boss CAI's biggest customer. Boss CAI's uncle sends a batch of fabric samples directly from Guangdong every month to He Hung Mei. Whatever He Hung Mei chooses, Boss CAI will go to the Guangdong factory and send it directly to her. In this way, there is no need to transfer in Hangzhou. Originally, Boss CAI didn't even need to go to Guangdong. His uncle could just send the fabrics to He Hung Mei from the factory. But there are still 2 small shareholders in their factory. Doing this is equivalent to their factory doing business directly with He Hung Mei, and Boss CAI takes the water out of the middle. Although He Hung Mei is indeed a customer of Boss CAI, it is not good. Even if there is no agreement with the shareholders, it is better for Boss CAI to do it himself. This means that he takes the fabrics out of the factory's warehouse and then sends them to He Hung Mei from the warehouse. The fabrics provided by Boss CAI are of great help to He Hung Mei, because the fabrics are very novel, and they are all fabrics used by major international brands for the season. You can see them in various fashion magazines, and He Hung Mei not only makes them. Red Plum Blossoms Bloom is very popular, and film and television crews, especially those with modern urban themes, often use these fabrics. Zhang Chen walked around He Hung Mei's warehouse and saw only fabrics in stock, but no clothes. He Hung Mei told him that all the clothes were sold, and they really ordered one piece and made one piece and sold one piece. Zhang Chen said with envy, "It would be better for you to dress like this so that there is no pressure." He Hung Mei said, "I was scared when I saw it in Hangzhou, so I insisted on doing this. No matter how easy to sell the style is, we don't produce it in advance and would rather let customers wait for an extra day or 2. Zhang Chen nodded, he thought about it, and told He Hung Mei, "In fact, now that you have a place, you can start doing private customization." Before He Hung Mei said anything, Wen Wen shouted, "I told her a long time ago. She said she can't compete with Master for business." Zhang Chen said with a smile, "What kind of business stealing is this? If you don't do it, others won't do it. They will follow suit. There are already people in Shanghai who have done it." In the end, this kind of thing still depends on the customer's preference. It is impossible to say that one company can satisfy all customers. The second thing is to look at your own design capabilities. If you have this condition, start doing it. By the way, you can cooperate with GE Ling as a buyer. You don't need to allocate so many people at the beginning. If you have any needs, just let GE Ling arrange it for you. Okay, I agreed on her behalf. As I said, Mr. Zhang is not such a stingy person, Wen Wen said. That's not exactly it, He Hung Mei said, I still know how much I weigh. I am going to start doing private customization here. The main customers must be from the film and television industry. Their biggest needs are to attend various events. I'm not good at dressing up for a show, I'm not a master, I don't have that kind of imagination, and I can't do it so grandly. You didn't even do it, so how do you know you can't do it? Zhang Chen said, besides, if you encounter the situation, don't you still have me? That's right, Mr. Zhang, we can join forces. Our 2 families work together. Is that what the word means, 2 beads made into one? Wen Wen asked. A perfect match, Zhang Chen said. Yes, that's the word. Wen Wen pointed at He Hung Mei and said to Zhang Chen, she is the bead and you are the couplet. They click together and they fit together, just like you are on the bed. Zhang Chen and Qian laughed, and He Hongmei cursed, "You are really illiterate and a hooligan." "Don't worry about it." Wen Wen waved her hand towards He Hongmei and continued to talk to Zhang Chen. "Mr. Zhang, can I get your name out? Although you are not from the film and television industry, in the film and television industry, especially she is quite famous among those women." "Okay, you can use it however you want," Zhang Chen said. "Haha, can I brag that you are my boyfriend?" Wen Wen asked. "That won't work," Zhang Chen said. "I'm afraid that Hercules will come to settle accounts with me and beat me into a scumbag. I'm afraid of death." Still stingy, Wen Wen and He Hongmei said, "Okay, I'll leave it to you." "What do you mean by leaving it to me?" He Hongmei was unconvinced. "It sounds like you can take it away. Why don't you give it a try?" Zhang Chen and Qian laughed, and Qian asked, "Are you not even hungry anymore?" Zhang Chen returned to Hangzhou, and Su Qiaxin came to pick him up at the airport. Zhang Chen asked Su Qiaxin, "Should you drive or should I drive?" Su Qiaxin quickly shouted, "I'll drive, I'll drive." Zhang Chen knew that this was a novice's addiction that hadn't passed yet, so he let her go. "How is the implementation of Target's additional orders?" Zhang Chen asked as the car drove on the airport expressway. Su Qiaxin remained silent. She held the steering wheel tightly with both hands, wanting to pull it out. She pursed her lips tightly and stared straight ahead. Zhang Chen raised his voice and asked again, "Su Qiaxin, how is the implementation of Target's additional order? Has the fabric arrived?" Only then did Su Qiaxin react, said "Oh," and asked, "Boss, what did you say?" "I asked, has the fabric for Target's additional order arrived?" It's here, but the bulk goods are a little different from the sample clothes," Su Qiaxin said. "What's the difference?" "There's a little color difference." "What should we do?" "Boss, I'm driving." "Can you please stop distracting me?" Su Qiaxin said. "I'll tell you later. There are many things I need to report to you together." Zhang Chen smiled and said, "Okay, you, old man, will drive first." They crossed the second Qiantang River Bridge, took the Gentian West Road exit of the Ring Expressway, entered the city, drove straight ahead, past Gentian West Road, arrived at Huanchen North Road, and drove straight ahead until they reached the downstairs of the dynamic zone. In the parking lot in the afternoon, there were not many cars and many empty parking spaces. Su Qiaxin drove her car into the parking lot. There were 3 or 4 empty parking spaces connected together at the entrance. She did not stop, but drove in and kept driving. Go to an empty parking space sandwiched between 2 cars and prepare to back your car into the parking space. "Do you want to die?" Zhang Chen asked. Su Qiaxin still didn't make a sound, but she drove the car. Although the speed was very slow, she reversed the car into position. It only took about 20 seconds. Zhang Chen was surprised and shouted, "Oh, that's right, Su Qiaxin, when did you learn your craft?" Su Qiaxin stopped the car and looked at him with a smile. "Do you want to go to the factory? If you do, I will take you there now." "Humph, those people have laughed at me once, so don't even think about laughing at me a second time." Zhang Chen nodded and said yes. Only then did Su Qiaxin tell him that this was the result of her pulling Xiao Sheng down every day to teach her how to reverse. "I'm not afraid of reversing now," Su Qiaxin said. Zhang Chen praised her. "I have said before that you have strong learning ability, but the most important thing is to have the resilience that you must learn." Su Qiaxin giggled. "Boss, you praise me so much. It tastes better than eating chocolate. By the way, I will report the fabric problem to you again. I compared it according to the Pantone number. There is a difference in color number. I also put it together with the sample fabric and took a photo. That damn Jerry looked at it, and Jerry went to ask the lady of your dreams for advice, and she said it was within an acceptable range. Otherwise, for such a big thing, I would have called you long ago. Zhang Chen said yes. Is there anything else? Also, Xiaoli said that Li Wei and the others need to add 2 more people, and I agreed, Su Qiaxin said. Zhang Chen nodded. There are also matters related to our foreign trade company. Do you want to listen to the report here or go upstairs? Su Qiaxin asked. Zhang Chen said to go upstairs. When they arrived upstairs, Zhang Chen and Su Qiaxin said, go get Xiaoli and listen to Xiaoli first, and then listen to your company's affairs. Su Qiaxin said yes and walked towards the sales department. Zhang Chen entered the office, and just as he sat down, Su Qiaxin and Xiaoli came in. Zhang Chen asked Xiaoli, how is the general agent doing? It's been quiet in the past 2 days. Anyway, the franchise fee has been refunded to them. I think they just don't want to do it and may not tell us. However, I took a look and found that except Guo Wentao of Harbin, everyone else is restocking. If they decide not to do it, they probably won't replenish the stock, Xiaoli said. Has Ma Ye replenished the stock too? Zhang Chen asked. Come on, Ma Ye also told me that the letter from the boss was very well written. She was angry at first, but when she saw the letter, especially when the boss said that she would advance and retreat with them in the clothing field, the anger in my heart is gone, and when I think about it, if we can live, they can live better, and she understands us. Then it's okay. Guo Wentao's place is okay too, Zhang Chen said. He and Ma Ya are really on the same page. If Ma Ya keeps doing it, he won't stop doing it. The stock will be replenished in about 2 days. When winter comes in the north, the replenishment volume will originally decrease. Yes, the world is dominated by down jackets and mink coats. In winter, the sales ranking of our Beijing counter will drop a few places. There is no way. Women in the north seem to be broke, and they still have to buy a mink coat to wear. Xiaoli said. By the way, has he Dongmei called you? Zhang Chen asked. No, never, Xiaoli said. Anyway, she has a through train. She never called me about the through train, Zhang Chen said. He Dongmei has never been a troubled person. No, Sister Hongmei scolded her back. Right, Su Qiaxin said, Sister Hongmei is very fierce. During the SARS period, didn't he Dongmei also want to return the goods? I heard Sister Hongmei scolding her and telling her, if you return a piece of clothing, I will sever the sisterhood with you. Zhang Chen was silent. No wonder at that time, other places returned the goods, but Chongqing did not return any goods. And he Hongmei never told herself about this. Sister Hongmei is like this. Every time something happens, she always stands by our side, Xiaoli said. It seems that Chongqing is not her family's business and has nothing to do with her. Tell me about your foreign trade company, Zhang Chen and Su Qiaxin said. Xiaoli stood up and said to Zhang Chen, shall I leave first, boss? Zhang Chen said yes. Xiaoli walked out, and Su Qiaxin and Zhang Chen said, I'm wondering if we should register an overseas company and open an offshore account. Why? Zhang Chen asked. It's convenient, you can avoid taxes, and you can freely dispatch foreign currency. That day Zhao Xian told me that it was a headache to remit the paintings she bought abroad. The same goes for our foreign trade company. Some of the goods are sent to the United States and Europe. The tariffs are very high. If we re-export the goods through overseas companies, the tariffs can be reduced. Although we are not paying the import duties, it helps our customers save money, which is also a good thing for us and can better protect our customers. Boss, we are actually already losing money now. If we had overseas companies earlier, our factories would be invested by our own overseas companies. That would be foreign invested enterprises and we could enjoy many preferential policies. Now we can't enjoy them. Also, our Sanya Botanical Garden will import a lot of things in the future. It will be much more convenient to go through overseas companies. Otherwise, we have to go through the formalities every time we send money out, which is also very troublesome. Zhang Chen felt that what Su Qiaxin said was reasonable. He asked, would it be troublesome to open an overseas company? It's not troublesome. There are specialized agencies. Just entrust them to handle it. Then where do we register? Zhang Chen asked. Cayman Islands, Su Qiaxin said. Zhang Chen said yes, you and Zhao Jingjing will implement it. Thank you Winston 666 for the tip. Thank you for your monthly votes from Kayadayan Hui, Zipanjiang 1, Fengdong Xiukan, Zizhewu, Qingdao La Sun, Book Friends 2010906223204934, Old 2 Old 3, Ming Chenzi, Book Friends 0910261531555820, Book Friends 201811141944321990, Hearing the Wind, Book Friends 2019010420175818. Thank you for all the votes and reading. Have a good evening everyone. The Pentium Era, South to North. Author, Mei Shi Niang. Chapter 1401. In the evening, Lu Ligan came back from get off work early. He walked into Zhang Chen's office, sat down on the sofa, and stared at Zhang Chen. Not bad, Lu Ligan said. What's good? Zhang Chen asked, puzzled. I went to Beijing for a few days and my face looked much better when I came back. This man still needs a woman to nourish him. This is called gathering yin and replenishing yang, you know, Lu Ligan said with a smile. Get out of here, Zhang Chen scolded, and suddenly thought of Wen Wen. He asked. By the way, Zhuangzi, why don't you and that Wen Wen become a couple? If you become a couple, you will be a gangster who combines two villains. What are you doing? Is this idiot teasing you? Lu Ligan asked. That's not true, Zhang Chen said. I just think of you when I see her, and I think of her when I see you. You two are truly androgynous. It's a pity not to be together. If you were together, there would be another one. Boy, that must be a wonder for the ages. As Zhang Chen spoke, he couldn't help but burst out laughing. Lu Ligan said, I've become pure and pure now, okay. I won't eat meat for how many days? Have you learned enough? It's boring. Didn't I tell you that I look so charming, but in fact, I'm just a coward. Don't be embarrassed. Are you still coveting Tan Shahen? Zhang Chen scolded. Lu Ligan sighed and slapped his right hand on the sofa. Ouch, Lu Ligan shouted, startling Zhang Chen. Zhang Chen was sitting behind the desk and could not see out the door. Lu Ligan was sitting on the sofa and could just see out the door. He stood up and said to Zhang Chen, the big shot is here. As soon as Lu Ligan finished speaking, Li Yong walked in from the door. Zhang Chen was also surprised and asked, today is not the weekend, Li Yong, why are you here? Why, you're not welcome, Li Yong said, I have nothing to do tonight, so I just came to have a drink and tell you something else. When Li Yong came, they would not go out to eat as usual, but would eat in Zhang Chen's office. Lu Ligan said, there is nothing delicious in the canteen down below, so we should cook on the stove while I buy some seafood. Zhang Chen said yes, and Li Yong stopped Lu Ligan and told him that he would go back later and I would talk about the matter first, and you should also listen to Zhang Chen. Zhang Chen and Lu Ligan said to Xiaoli and others to help buy it, but you should not go. Lu Ligan said okay, I will make arrangements. Lu Ligan went out and came back, closed the door, and the three of them sat down on the sofa. Li Yong and Zhang Chen said, I just had an office meeting this afternoon. Let me tell you something. Don't tell the outside world. Zhang Chen, your Yan'an Road store may not be able to survive. The Yan'an Road area needs to be renovated. This is a collective decision. There is no way. Zhang Chen was startled. What he immediately thought was, so, all three of his stores will be wiped out? It's not so soon. It should be next spring, but it's already confirmed. I'll say hello to you first and let you prepare early, Li Yong said to Zhang Chen, and Zhang Chen nodded. A Land King was auctioned nearby. When Carey Construction won the original Zhejiang Medical University land, it should have thought that it would be a matter of time. Is the collection and storage center addicted to selling? Lu Ligan said, it's okay, I can just go and take pictures when the time comes. Li Yong shook his head, you can talk to the collection and storage center about the specific demolition. I won't interfere or ask. However, this is a directional auction. You can't take the polls even if you want to. They came from the province to attract investment. Li Kaxing's Chongkong Holdings. Damn it, this duck egghead is going to come to Hangzhou to have a look, Lu Ligan scolded, you're so rude, at least the conditions are the same as the house in Shanghai. Don't tell me this. Li Yong waved his hand and Zhang Chen said okay, we will handle it ourselves. He just feels that those of us who are in the industry are really stepmothers. Let alone a century-old store, it is impossible to maintain a 10-year-old store now. How so? Actually, we have internal debates about this, Li Yong said, especially the comrades in charge of industry have pointed out that excessive real estate development will cause the hollowing out of industry. If that time comes, for a city, is also dangerous, which means the city's roots are gone. Zhang Chen nodded, glanced at Lu Ligan and said, it will become a carnival for these profiteers. They want to see this day the most. Li Yong laughed and asked Lu Ligan, do you want to refute the profiteer? Of course, Lu Ligan said, in fact, we least want to see that situation. If that is the case, who will sell our houses to? People in the city are all real estate developers. Should we build our own houses and sell them to ourselves, the industry is gone, and so is the purchasing power. Detroit in the United States is the best example. With the relocation of the automobile industry, not only did the city decline, but the houses there were as cheap as cabbage. Let's look at where the most expensive housing prices are in our country. Guangdong, Zhejiang, Jiangsu, Shanghai, and Beijing. Why are the housing prices in these places so expensive? The economy is so good, and there are so many capitalists like him. Lu Ligan said and pointed at Zhang Chen. Li Yong smiled and said, yes, this is still a conscious profiteer. How to balance various industries is indeed a university question. Someone knocked on the door. Zhang Chen said come in. Xiaoli and Su Qiaxin came in carrying vest bags. Lu Ligan looked at them and cursed, are you stupid, just bring it in and let us eat like this? Go and wash it before bringing it in, stupid. Su Qiaxin said, I don't know how to kill this crab. Its big pincers can even bite people. You are really spoiled and don't know how to farm. If you don't kill to ask Ji Ling, then the child from a poor family will definitely know, Lu Ligan continued to scold. Su Qiaxin said, then children from poor families shouldn't even be able to eat crabs. Zhang Chen and Li Yong laughed. Lu Ligan glared at Su Qiaxin and Xiaoli, the two laughed. Su Qiaxin said, okay, let's ask Ji Ling. After a while, Ji Ling came in and asked Zhang Chen, Master, how to kill crabs and squid. Lu Ligan looked at Zhang Chen and said, Zhang Chen, what kind of gold do you have here? Su Qiaxin and Xiaoli stood behind Ji Ling and laughed wildly. Zhang Chen said, take it to the canteen below, or ask Zhao Jingjing. The three of them went out, and when they finally came back in, the seafood had been washed. The squid and swimming crab were chopped into pieces, the shrimps had their tails and threads removed, and the two bombfish and clams were also cleaned. Zhang Chen asked, who did it? Xiaoli said, Zhao Jingjing. Let's see, it's the old comrades who can be relied upon at the critical moment. You guys who have no hair in your mouth are still not good enough, Lu Ligan shouted. Who said that? I also picked 3 shrimp threads, Su Qiaxin said unconvinced. That's amazing. Have you signed the shrimp? It would be a pity not to sign for such an important achievement, Lu Ligan said sarcastically. Xiaoli said, that's not right, Zhao Jingjing has no hair on her mouth either. The two people put down their things, closed the door and went out. Here, three people began to take out the cassette stove and seasonings and sauces from the cabinet. After a while, a pot of water boiled. Zhang Chen took out 2 bottles of wool yanjai and told Li Yong, "Anyway, you are fine today. This is the basic route for today." Li Yong said, "Am I still afraid of you?" The three of them drank until about 11 o'clock. Li Yong no longer lives in Xingxin Hotel, but in a community in Beijing Fang not far from here. Zhang Chen wanted to send him back, but he said no. I can just walk back a few steps to digest it. Lu Ligan said, "I will walk with you there, and then I will digest it when you walk back." Li Yong still said no. Zhang Chen said, "He needs to consume hormones, otherwise, I don't know which shampoo room he will get into." Li Yong laughed and said, "Okay, Pole, then you go with me, and I will teach you and educate you, be sincere and good at tempting you." Lu Ligan said, "Okay, just treat me like a lost lamb at midnight." The three people chatted and went downstairs. When they got downstairs, Zhang Chen walked to the parking lot. Lu Ligan led Li Yong into the dynamic area where the rolling shutters were open and merchants were coming in and out to load goods. The security guards here did not know Li Yong, but they all knew Lu Ligan. The two of them passed through the dynamic zone unimpeded and reached the Stadium Road in front. Crossing Stadium Road and following the alley that Lu Ligan often walked to eat noodles in the morning, we arrived at Jesus Hall Lane. Beyond Jesus Hall Lane is Beijing Fang. When Zhang Chen was driving and alone, he felt an inexplicable sadness. He didn't expect that the store on Yan'an Road would be demolished so soon. Zhang Chen did not go back directly. He drove along North Huancheng Road to Woolen Square Road, which is in front of Hangzhou Center, turned left, turned right at Stadium Road, and drove to the three-way intersection of Stadium Road and Yan'an Road. When he exited, he did not continue to drive forward, but turned left onto Yan'an Road. He purposely passed by the entrance of Ben Muishan Women's Life flagship store and looked at it through the car window. By this time next year, this place will no longer exist. Just like the original sales department of Yiming Food Factory, it will be quickly forgotten when it disappears. By this time next year, no one will probably even mention half an acre of field. Although this specialty store caused a sensation in the city when it opened, its fate was the same as that of the Yiming Food Factory sales department. Maybe I am the only one who will remember it until I disappear from this world. Zhang Chen thought to himself. Zhang Chen returned to Splendid Home. When he went upstairs, he felt so tired that he couldn't lift his feet. Zhang Chen went upstairs, opened the door, and walked into his room. He sat there and stared blankly at Xiao Zhao's urn for a while before he began to murmur. "Xiao Zhao, I'm back from Beijing. Hung Mei asked me to say hello to you for her. Xiao Zhao, Li Yong is here today." Guess what he said? He said, "Our store on Yan'an Road with half an acre of land will be opened next year. It will be demolished in the spring as well." Xiao Zhao, half an acre of land is almost gone. Without half an acre, there won't even be a single acre of land left. Thank you to Harmony Brother, Daekyong 666, and Galaxy for your monthly votes. Thanks for all the votes and reading. I wish you all a happy life.